gentler than a washcloth in water, as comforting as a lover's caress, ephemeral like a forgotten summer breeze from childhood. You can never recapture those feelings you had when you were 17, but the dulcet tones of Matt and Seth talking about video game music might make you feel something again.
It's time for Bit Harmony!
You're listening once again, as always, to Bit Harmony, a video game music podcast, and I am Matt.
And I am Seth.
Today we are talking Spelunky 1 and 2. You know, one of these days, I always would have liked to have every intro be unique to the game we're talking about. Like, you know, with like if we were doing Dark Souls, we could be like Bit Harmony and Undead Favorite or something. But
oh, sure.
But I don't ever remember, and I can't think that much on the fly about like what I could reference from Spelunky to make it clear that we're talking about Spelunky.
Yeah, there would have to be some kind of, every now and then I think about doing something like that too. Like I should have said like, some kind of like The Dead or Restless or something like that. Like
yeah, that's good. Any of those would have been good. Damn it.
Yeah. Oh well. Too late now.
We retake it. No, we're not going to retake it. Yeah, today we're talking about Spelunky 1 and 2. Funny enough, yeah, it's like one of my favorite series of all time, and also one of Seth's favorite series of all time. Like, we'll get into it, obviously. Like, Spelunky 2, up until I played Baldur's Gate 3 last year, was like my number one game of all time. So when I say that, we're not joking around. This is a pretty important episode, maybe the most important episode of Bit Harmony yet. Yeah, yeah,
it's huge. This series means a lot to me, and we'll get into it. And I don't often get to talk about these games, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I don't either. Like none of my friends, like prior to meeting you, I think like care about it at all. I remember we'll talk about when we get to Spelunky 2 also, but 2020 I was so excited for Spelunky 2, but then Hades like just sucked all the air out of the room and no one cared. Yeah, is how I feel about it. This Bit Harmony is doing justice to Spelunky 2 in 2025.
We're taking it back.
Yeah. But first, our intro this episode is Dwelling from Spelunky 2. Spelunky 1 and 2 both composed by Eirik Suhrke. I should have looked up to see if I was pronouncing his name right, but we'll go for it. I think
that's right. Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, that is Dwelling, and we will be back. that was Dwelling from Spelunky 2. Again, most of the featured music this episode will have composed by Eirik Suhrke. What can I say about Dwelling? Like, this is video games to me.
Hell yeah, dude.
When I first played Spelunky 2, I like you and your wife, I put so much time into Spelunky 1. Like, I bought a PS Vita just to be able to play Spelunky more comfortably. Like, Vita was a Spelunky machine. Like, I barely played anything else on it, and I was happy with it. It was not a problem. But yeah, when I first played Spelunky 2, the soundtrack is so different from Spelunky 1. And again, we'll get to that later, of course. But I remember being very disappointed with the soundtrack of 2 at first, because it really, 1 just it has that Sega Genesis sound chip vibe going on. And then 2 is going for like more real instruments. But like, if I'm being honest, as much as I love the Spelunky 1 soundtrack, I do now, a couple years removed, I do think 2 is not only the better soundtrack, but the more interesting soundtrack. And it's very impressive that I like Dwelling this much, because it's the first world music, and you're going to hear it all the time, especially because Spelunky 2 is so much harder than Spelunky 1. You will often hear Dwelling many hours worth before you hear anything else.
Yeah. I have it's really funny that we have such similar pathways through Spelunky. I remember we went to the midnight release of there's some other game that was coming out at the time, but what we were there for was to pick up Kirby Rainbow Curse for the Wii U. So we picked that up, but my wife happened to come with me, and some way or another, I think that the Vita port of Spelunky had recently come out around that same time, and somehow or another we wound up buying a Vita at the same time so that she could just play Spelunky on the Vita. And that's literally what we did. Like, we bought that Vita, and I had my Vita, but she wanted her own so that she could play Spelunky on the Vita. So that it's very funny that we have that similar thing. Also, yeah, like, I do remember hearing this for the first time and thinking, like, kind of, like, all right, let's see what you got. You know what I mean? Like, kind of having that vibe of, like, see if you can kind of match, like, the Minds music from Spelunky 1 that's, like, seared into my head, you know? And, yeah, I had a I guess, similar reaction to Spelunky 2, where I was like, this feels so different. Like, Spelunky 1, and we're going to be playing music from both games, you know, throughout the course of this episode, so people will kind of get a sense of this. But yeah, Spelunky 1's music is so much simpler, but like, it's, I don't know, like, it's more like arcadey, I guess, like, feeling like they're very quick, like, looping tracks that have a very kind of like, I don't know, like simple composition. Whereas, yeah, this is way more complicated, both in terms of like the actual composition of the song, the instruments used, and even like the length of the song and the places that the songs can go, which I think can sometimes be detrimental when you're talking about a roguelike, where you're going to be playing, yeah, like you said, like Dwelling in Minds. These are the two songs you're going to hear more than any other song in the game, because it's the start of a run, you know? So it's really important that like that it's the kind of song you never get sick of, you know? And this one's just got like, Dwelling just has that great kind of like earwormy melody to it, with like that wind flute lead on it that kind of like, I don't know, makes it feel, there's like a certain feel to Dwelling, I feel like that I think kind of, I don't know, like it feels kind of fun, like it feels kind of like fun and adventurous, but also kind of scary a little bit. Like there is like an undercurrent of danger. You've got like those little drums and stuff, and there's even like some sitar and like some kind of bubbly noises and stuff. And I don't know, I think the song accomplishes a lot with like it takes advantage of its more advanced palette, you know, like it's not I really in hindsight appreciate Spelunky 2's like, I guess, willingness to explore the entirety of the new space it's given itself. It's not like you know, like it's like, hey, if we're gonna go for it, we're gonna go for it, you know. So.
Right. Yeah, just the fact that there's even like a slower build up at the start of this song. Like there's nothing like that in Spelunky 1. Like it's just all balls to the wall.
Yeah.
Just synths. Here's one song with saxophones. Like that's kind of it. Yeah, I love the intro to this song, especially because like I still play the daily of Spelunky 2. I've been playing the daily fairly regularly since this game came out.
Yeah.
So like there's just something about like, and often like in the morning, like after breakfast. So
right.
There's something about like the start of this song that's like a getting my day started kind of thing going on with, that slow build up to the hand drums and stuff. I will note my favorite part about this as a song is with how catchy and earwormy it is also the perfect song to ad lib your own lyrics to. And for me, that has turned into singing about the cat. So often,
oh yeah, totally.
Often it's like cookie, little baby cookie, and so on and so forth. He hates it, but it's fine. But yeah, there's not much else for me to say about this song, but it is. I wasn't even originally considering putting the song in here as a break because it's like so obvious. But then I'm like, yeah, but I feel like we have to. Like it's so obvious because it's obvious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it is kind of the song. Like if you're gonna play Spelunky 2, like this is the song you're gonna hear. Like this is the main thing.
Right.
So yeah, it makes sense.
As you get bumped into spikes by moles and lizards. Do you remember how crazy the 1.0 of this game was?
Yes.
And he had to like remove how often moles were spawning.
He had to like adjust the mole spawn. It was so it's still kind of crazy.
It is. The
from
moles
time to time.
suck.
There's these moles that burrow into like the the dirt, like the ground, and they'll just kind of pop up. But yeah, in the 1.0 release, it was insane. Like there would be, now you'll maybe see like between maybe like 3 to 4 moles on a stage, sometimes. Dude, it was genuinely on the 1.0 release, you'd see like 8 to 10 moles. It was crazy.
Bad. Well, and I remember reading him talking about that, and he was saying his idea with both the lizards and moles is that there are enemies that like will move ahead of you, and so like they're gonna trigger traps. So like they're almost meant to be helpful to you, but they are not. They're absolutely not.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that was nice, and this is getting real in the weeds, but it was nice to have more like fodder for the Kali altars. So like if you got into a stage with Kali, you could almost certainly go like straight for a cup build, like within that same stage, because there was just so many things to sacrifice. But yeah, so there is some merit to that. And I mean, one of my favorite things to do is like using those guys to set off arrow traps. That feels really good.
Yeah, but, it feels great to kill a lizard or a mole with the arrows. Yeah, it's great. But otherwise, that's all I had to say about Dwelling. Did you have anything else?
Yeah, no, it's just really good. I tagged 146. There's like a secondary lead melody that has this just real like fuzzy like synth melody underneath it that's really good. But no, yeah, it's just a great song. Definitely one of the standout Spelunky 2 tracks.
Yeah, it was fun. It was worth doing this episode just to have an excuse to actually sit down and listen. Because, I never go to the jungle or the temple in Spelunky 2. Anyone that goes to the temple in Spelunky 2 is like a serial killer. Like, you need to actually be in prison. Like, there's no place for you in this world with us civilized people.
The only reason to do that is to unlock Pilot. That's the only reason you should do that.
Absolutely. I'm strictly speaking of like, once you're settled in and you've unlocked the things you want to unlock and the journal entries, there's no reason to ever go to temple again, which is a shame because that route is kind of way crazier and way more interesting. Whatever, we'll talk about it later.
Temple's so dangerous in Spelunky 2 though.
It's
like
ridiculous.
way more dangerous than Temple in Spelunky 1.
It's the hardest biome in 2 period, and there's like 3 biomes after it. So we'll talk about it. I have a lot of things to complain about.
I could sit there and talk about those damn cats in the temple in Spelunky 2.
Dude, the cats. I've lost many a run in Cosmic Ocean to cats or thwomps.
Yeah.
Let's get to general housekeeping. What have you got for me?
Well, no new reviews. I don't think. I was like, did we have 17 or 18 Spotify reviews last time? I can't remember. It's possible that we have a new Spotify review. If so, thank you to whoever it was that reviewed us on Spotify. I do know there's no new iTunes reviews, but yeah, as always, if y'all like the show, that's a very appreciated way to support the show for free. Review it on Spotify, iTunes. That's always very appreciated. We did get some new comments. So, you know, we post this on early access on Patreon. So for just $1 a month over on Patreon, we got links to that in the show notes. Another great way to support us. And you do get early access to the show. And on the early access Patreon post from the last episode, we actually got 2 comments, which is very uncommon from the Patreon community. But I did want to shout them out here. The first one comes to us from Wilk, who says, PB&J might be the most overrated sandwich, but I recently fell back into a similar hole to Matt. I'm addicted to Uncrustables, much like the NFL and Ultra Runners are.
Okay. There's a lot to unpack here. Is peanut butter and jelly the most overrated? I feel like when you're not like 12 anymore, no one talks about it. I don't know how it could be overrated. No one talks about peanut butter and jelly. I never hear anyone talk about it. Especially
not outside of America, you know,
right?
Like, yeah. It's not really that big of a thing outside of America, as we mentioned on the last episode. But also, like, I don't know if I consider any sandwich overrated. Like, I don't think people are really talking about sandwiches that much. You know,
someone's got the tier maker list up and they're pissed. They've got the bologna sandwich in at C tier and they're mad that you even suggest that.
Oh, you're a psycho for putting bologna at C tier. I mean, I have my favorite sandwiches, but I just don't know anybody who's like that vocal about sandwiches, or anybody who is like passionately arguing for or against a sandwich. You know what I mean?
Peanut butter and jelly is truly the ocarina of time of sandwiches. This is what we've just covered here.
Yeah, Uncrustables though, Uncrustables are awesome. So, I mean, I think they're great, and we don't have them often, but they're great.
Explain to me what, I think I know what an Uncrustable is, but I've definitely never had one.
It's just a little, like, it's a PB&J, but it's kind of made as like a little pocketable, you know, like little sandwich that has no crust. It's almost like crimped like a dumpling or something.
Yeah.
And it's like white bread with, just peanut butter and jelly inside of it. They have a couple different, there's like a Nutella version now. Mm-hmm. They have it with grape and strawberry jam. Like they're, you know, it's just good.
A reason I think I'm also going nutty over these PB&J sandwiches over in Europe is because the bread is like on another planet from bread in America.
Sure.
So I'll be honest, I think the idea of an Uncrustable sounds good, but I don't know that I want like prepackaged like white bread version of a PB&J kind of.
I like a PB&J with like the cheapest. I want like that like bunny Wonder Bread, like just the cheapest white bread possible. I want it, to me, making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich to me is alchemy. Like it is taking different components and creating like a new homogeneous thing with it. Like the peanut butter, the jelly, and the bread all combine to make like, this is no longer the sum of its parts. I'm not eating a sandwich made of bread, peanut butter, and jelly. I'm eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You know, like, okay. It's transformative.
Listening to you say that, I might now agree with Wilk that PB&J is the most overrated.
Well, that to me is different than other sandwiches, to be fair. Like, if I'm making like a normal sandwich with turkey or roast beef or whatever, I don't feel that way. But making a PB&J, I do. Like it's like a different thing. I want it with like the cheapest white bread I can have with like an ice cold glass of milk. Not to get us back on milk, but like that's but that's what I want when I make a PB&J.
I'm now imagining my wife, that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 game just came out, and my wife is very cute. She loves medieval stuff. She's been watching a lot of streams of people playing it, and there's like very in-depth mini games for like all this like potion making and stuff you can do. Now I'm imagining like an in-depth like peanut butter and jelly mini game in like a modern day Kingdom Come Deliverance, which I guess is just real life at that point.
Yeah, we're all just playing Kingdom Come Deliverance when we make our PB&Js. Okay, well, we did get another comment from Phelan, also on Patreon, who submitted a bunch of songs on the last episode. Phelan says, I'm glad I get to introduce you to the amazing Pokemon Coliseum / XD Gale of Darkness OST. I hope you all take some time to enjoy the rest of the OST, as there were a good number of songs I was thinking of requesting, and it was hard to settle on just one. Enjoyed the episode. Yeah, that was cool. I had never heard that music before, nor had played the game, and there were people in the Discord, I think like Purple Riolu, I think, came in. Like there were people who were like, yeah, dude, like those games are excellent. And I've always heard good things about them, and it's one of those games, like, I wish I had a easy way to play that other than just emulating it or whatever, because I'd like to go back to it.
I mean, hey, emulating is probably the easiest way regardless, but
that's true.
I'm just real curious why I didn't play them back then, or at least like I
Right.
can understand I skipped Coliseum, but it feels weird to me that I never played Gale of Darkness. Also, I think Shadow Lugia is kind of cool, so I really don't know why I skipped out on it.
Yeah, I don't know either. It just, for whatever reason, just completely passed me by. Yeah, so we did have one more comment also from Wilk, who left a comment on the Spotify post of the episode as well, because I guess he doubled up. I guess he like listened to it on Patreon and then listened to it on Spotify.
He saved his nastiest comment for the public feed of it. Yeah.
Yeah, which I can respect, but I don't respect the comment itself. So Wilk just left a comment, and you can do this, by the way, too. If you have thoughts when you listen to the show on Spotify, leave your comments, and we're happy to read them on the show and respond to them. He leaves just simply, I like that Yoshi music.
I mean, okay. I'm working under the assumption it's a bit one of the YouTube comments I saw on that, I think that was just like the main title screen of Yoshi's new island that I threw in there. Like around 20 something seconds, there's like a guitar, like an acoustic guitar that's coming through it. It sounds like the song might get good for a second, and then it just stops. And I saw a lot of YouTube comments that were like hints of a good song are breaking through the cracks here, but then it like gets defeated or whatever.
Yeah.
I know Wilk's bit is that he likes music that like challenges him, but I challenge you to tell me what challenged you about that Yoshi music. There's nothing challenging about it beyond the fact that it sucks. Like it's just bad.
I for one do not. I want the record to show I don't think this is a bit. I think Wilk does like that Yoshi music. And I do think that in many ways this is the 100 gex of Yoshi music.
Yeah, that's probably true. Ways. Yeah, just a lot of clown shoes and horns going off.
Yeah, and like kazoo noises and like babies screaming. I think that there probably is something. It probably, you lock yourself in a dark room and you turn on the Yoshi's New Island soundtrack and you just let it take you where it wants to take you. Maybe that's an experience. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe you just never wake up.
Yeah. So there you go. Wilk likes that. If you too like that Yoshi music, you can let us know. I would love an impassioned defense of the Yoshi's New Island soundtrack.
I also like that Yoshi music as a standalone sentence in the same way that I like your sentence in the last episode about I just like to see different Donkey Kongs or whatever it was. It's the same energy.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. So yeah, thanks for the comments, everybody. Again, you can do that too over on Spotify, or yeah, if y'all listen on Patreon, totally leave Patreon comments. We'll put them in the show.
Yeah, absolutely. You too can get roasted publicly.
That's really what you're signing up for, I think, when you leave these comments.
Yeah. When it comes to a post-mortem on the Monkey Knockout Gas episode, I don't have much to say. I mean, it was like a catch-up episode. There's not that much to really go over. I will say I hadn't listened to Fool in the Rain by Led Zeppelin in nearly 20 years, maybe even like full on 20 years. So when I was saying that the whistle reminded me of Mario Kart, and it did, But when I was in the editing phase, I loaded up the actual full song and was listening to it, and it got to that breakdown part, I was losing my mind because it just straight up is a Mario Kart song. That entire section, it's like the entire oral identity of Super Mario Kart is owed to Fool in the Rain, which is very, very funny to me.
I mean, if we ever get the chance to ask, like anybody that would know, that would be pretty good. Like just to get their reaction,
I haven't done it, but I'm sure if I were to just like listen to that part of the song while watching Mario Kart footage, no one would know the difference. It just straight up is a Mario Kart song to me.
We could, what we should do? We should just like record like some Super Mario Kart gameplay or something, and just like overlay that song over it, like instead of the rest of it. That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
Yeah. Well, the only thoughts that I had here, and I put a note down in here, mostly because I wanted you to see it. I say in here, I was happy that Sean recently got around to listening to this episode because we ended up talking. I think it was because the Super Mario Kart OST was added to Nintendo Music. So we ended up talking about Mario Kart, and I knew that Sean was going to listen to the episode and freak out because we were talking about Donut Plains. This did end up creating a brand new tear in the Discord of everybody like coming at me for my Mario Kart 8 tier list that I did like 2 months ago at this point. Where I did on the All In YouTube channel, I did like a 6.5 hour stream where I played and ranked every Mario Kart 8 Deluxe course, all like 96 of them. It was super fun actually, and I really enjoyed it. But I am still catching flack for that tier list all this time later. And anytime Mario Kart comes up in any capacity, it's just like another. It's just another round of whipping, of lashings. So that happened.
I was mostly joking about what you did to Donut Plains. I mean, I do you had it at A, I think. Like that's fair. That's totally fine. It was mostly when I remembered that you put Yoshi's Circuit like D. That was what got me fired up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I stand by that 1000%.
Okay. Moving on. No, I think it's a good bit. I mean, I from what I watched, I haven't watched the whole 6.5 hour video. I was in the chat live for like at least an hour and a half of it. It was fun. It was just like a fun little thing. And
it was a fun stream.
Reminder to people to not take things like that super seriously. But
right,
Donut Plains is the best Mario Kart level.
Yeah, it's fun to like. It's fun to be so fired up about Mario Kart tracks.
Yeah, something so stupid. And okay, here's the thing. I think I've said this before. I don't even like Mario Kart 8 that much, but I'm just saying that Donut Plains is the best level in it. Like I really don't care what anyone else thinks about it because I already know that I don't like Mario Kart 8 that much. At least not anymore. The last time I tried playing Mario Kart 8, I was not having any fun with it. I'm like, I think I'm just done. Like, maybe when 9 is out, I'll check that out. And if not, that's fine too. I think I've just kind of grown out of it at this point. I don't have like a regular friend group that we're getting together to play Mario Kart anymore. So like it doesn't really do it for me the same way it used to anymore.
Yeah, sure. I mean, A, it's different now. It's a different time. But B, it's also like we've had the same one for, 11 years.
Right.
So, yeah, So, yeah, I get it.
But speaking of Nintendo Music, we do have the most important segment of the show. Not really. I don't even know if anyone likes this as much as I do. But this is the state of the Nintendo Music Address. We got Pokemon Legends Arceus and Super Mario World dropped onto the Nintendo Music app in the past 2 weeks. I should probably start writing the dates down of these, I guess. This is going to be another one where, like, spoilers, like, I think Pokemon Legends Arceus soundtrack is incredible and is one of the best things that they've added to this service. And then Mario World is just Mario World. That's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good batch. They're both really. I mean, yeah, I'm with you. We I think have even publicly said on this show, like, if we're gonna do a Pokemon game, it'll probably be this. But because like the soundtrack is so good, and I mean, I've not really I don't know. I've felt this way for a long time about the soundtrack, but it really is wild to me how Pokemon Legends Arceus didn't even come out that long ago, but it already feels nostalgic to me. Like, I don't know, like I already have nostalgia for that game, and every time it comes up, I think of it kind of wistfully. Like, I think of it of like, oh man, like that game was so good, and like the music, especially like, yeah, that main Jubilife Village theme, it just immediately had like a totemic sort of presence, just like this kind of like, it felt instantly iconic. Like I'm always gonna think of it. Just the, it really, I think, is maybe not talked about enough, like how good that soundtrack is and how correct it came out the gate. Like, even that first like kind of movement in that song, just that do, like just that kind of like gentle like lead in to the song before all the instrumentation properly comes in, I'm like, damn dude, like it gets me kind of emotional when I hear it.
I just got chills just hearing you talk about it and just do the do. Like, it is that good. Like, and what's funny is that Jubilife is not even like a really noteworthy song in the original Diamond and Pearl, because a lot of this takes place in what would become Sinnoh, so like a lot of the Gen 4 music is remixed here. And yeah, Jubilife Village in the original Diamond and Pearl is just like whatever. I mean, Diamond and Pearl and Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl have great soundtracks too. I'm not trying to take anything away, but like Jubilife is not a standout track in those games, is what I'm trying to say, in the way that it is here. And the fact that it is so standout when the whole soundtrack is this good is very telling. Yeah, when you were talking about how the game already makes you feel nostalgic, I was gonna say, I think it's mostly just because of Jubilife Village. Like, that is one of the best town themes in any RPG I've ever heard. It's very, very good. Also worth noting, this is the first time they've added something to the Nintendo Music expressly because it's the anniversary of something. It was the 3-year anniversary when they added this to the app. It was just interesting that they noted that themselves. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it too much. I should note it was composed by Go Ichinose, Hitomi Sato, and Hiromitsu Maeba. I don't want to talk about too much just because this is like pretty high up my list of things I'd like to get to. If anything, I was just kind of waiting to see what they say about the next Pokemon Legends game soon, and then maybe schedule an Arceus episode around that or something. Right. But I will note that probably my favorite song in the game is it's just called Feelings on the official soundtrack.
Yeah, really good. It
just sounds like a Weather Channel song. I really love it. And I think my favorite of like the normal level themes is Crimson Mireland's 2-1. It's just very jaunty and good. And then Mario World, this is composed by Koji Kondo. It's hard for me to imagine anyone listening to, maybe I shouldn't say anyone, but many people listening to a video game music podcast and like wondering about Mario World soundtrack. Like, I just feel like it's so ubiquitous. Even if you don't care about video game music, you've probably heard Mario World music before. So it's kind of like the Mario 64 thing that we talked about I think was that the last episode. Like, I'm not trying to say the soundtrack is bad by any means. It's kind of great. I've heard it so many times, there's not much for me to really say here or analyze. I will note probably my 2 favorite songs here are the Staff Roll, which, again, much like Mario 64, just one of the best credits songs in any video game ever. It's just really good. My more dark horse pick is probably Vanilla Dome. I just like how like dirty it sounds. It's so
Vanilla
like,
Dome is that's the best song in the game. Yeah.
It's so like deep and just like it's I love it. I love Vanilla Dome. That's kind of worth having it on the Nintendo Music app for just Vanilla Dome, I guess. But yeah, I don't have much else to say about it. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add about Mario World specifically.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the thing about, I'm sure there are people who listen to this podcast and they wonder, like, where some of the more iconic, game soundtracks are or whatever. The reason that we don't do, like, a Mario World episode or whatever is because, like, this music is so ubiquitous with just video game music in general that, like, it's there's almost nothing to say about it because like duh, like it's Mario World, like it's iconic, it is video game music. Like when you think of video game music, like this is what it is. Like everybody, you know, that has been exposed to video game music probably knows what Mario World sounds like. So it would be like trying to describe the taste of water. You know what I mean? Like it's not, I don't know, man. Like it's just, it is what it is. It's so ingrained into it. It's part of the DNA of the thing. So it's almost not worth covering because I don't have anything interesting to say about it.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, like it's great. And yeah, Vanilla Dome was going to be the one that I shouted out to. I think that's the best track in the game by far. But, and yeah, it's, I think the most interesting, just like the movement of it, that kind of like bass, that boom, boom, you know, like that whole kind of like movement of it, I think is just really good. And yeah, it's all great. Like, yeah, duh. It's Super Mario World, dude.
Right. Like, yeah, again, what can I really say? I guess I did, if I'm honest, I didn't even really look at it in the Nintendo Music app. Like I was like, oh, okay, they added Mario World this week. Do they have like the different tracks, like when you're writing Yoshi and they add the drums, do they have those as like separate in the app, or is it just like part of the song, or what?
It's a good question. Well, I actually like one of my my only misgivings too. This is a similar thing with the Pokemon Legends Arceus thing. Is Jubilife Village, that song kind of builds as the game goes on. Like as you progress through the game, more layers get added into that, and I almost wish that they had separate tracks for like every kind of form of Jubilife Village, and I don't think they do. I think it's just one track, which is fine. But like, I don't know, like the dork in me would love like separated, you know, versions of all of this stuff. And I don't know about Super Mario World, but I assume it's the same way.
I just pulled it up, and yeah, it's separate. So there's, for instance, Athletic BGM, Hurry Up Athletic BGM, and then Yoshi Athletic BGM, and then Hurry Up Yoshi Athletic BGM. So
that makes sense. Yeah,
they really separated them out, which that's nice. I appreciate that.
Yep. More of that. Because yeah, like they are different things. I understand it kind of like beefs up the track list or something, but I mean, I want to be able to listen to Jubilife Village, like, you know, but before it starts adding in like that little dun 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 dun, dun. Like I want every piece of it, you know?
Right.
So yeah.
I mean, I'm almost at the point where I don't even care about giving these ratings anymore, because again, this is just one where
just
like
A's.
Yeah, or like high B's, like I don't. Maybe I'll try and think up a better like gimmick for this or something. But yeah, I don't know. It's a B+ or an A-. Probably Pokemon Legends Arceus alone is an A-. So I guess I'll just go with that.
Yeah, I was not going to go, for me personally, I was not going to go any lower than an A-. I was thinking a straight A for it, just because, like, I struggle with this because, like, the fact that Super Mario World is kind of, like, ubiquitous and boring, I don't think detracts anything from me, necessarily, because, like, yeah, dude, like, this, if anything, this should have been there already. You know what I mean? So,
right.
Like, I'm glad it's here because it is so iconic, and it does, like, if I have an app on my phone that says Nintendo Music, it damn well better have Super Mario World on it, you know? So the fact that they've added it, I think, is, like, only a good thing. So I struggle to, like, detract from it. So I think I just probably give this a straight up and down A personally, but yeah, I mean, Pokemon Legends Arceus, you know, just that alone, it's like, it's not going to fall too far, dude.
I have a hunch I know what your answer is. What do you think about Legends Arceus soundtrack-wise compared to Scarlet and Violet? Just purely soundtrack-wise.
Yeah, I mean, purely soundtrack-wise, I think that Scarlet and Violet is maybe I love them both for different reasons. I think Scarlet and Violet's interesting because I don't know if any other, especially mainline Pokemon games, have explored leitmotif the way that Scarlet and Violet does. Scarlet and Violet has such a unique, like, tonal identity in that way, and I think that Pokemon, one of the things I liked so much about Scarlet and Violet soundtrack is that Pokemon really is the perfect franchise to explore that, like, that kind of, like, very anime inspired, like, bringing in leitmotif in a Pokemon game, I think makes sense, and they've just never really done it. So I liked that Scarlet and Violet kind of took advantage of everything that Pokemon is for its soundtrack. But I mean, I don't know, man. Like that Area Zero music is like really good. It's tough. Tough.
I think, and again, this doesn't really matter. It's just conversation. I think I was more impressed at the time with Scarlet and Violet soundtrack wise. And also, Scarlet and Violet, I think, is a bigger soundtrack. I haven't actually looked in the Nintendo Music app to see if that's the case.
Yeah.
So, like, there's just so much in there, and it's, like, all so good. But at the same time, yeah, I definitely have stronger personal feelings towards the music of Arceus. Like, it's not even a question there. I was just interested because I feel like Pokemon fans, even the ones that are, like, not as, like, jaded as we are about modern Pokemon, they still want to go to bat for Scarlet and Violet in all ways and like kind of ignore Arceus in a lot of ways, you know?
Right.
Like I feel like Arceus is weirdly ignored, even though you would think, well, whatever. We'll save it. We'll talk about it maybe in an Arceus episode. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll for sure do that episode.
Yeah. But anyway, that was your Nintendo State of the Nintendo Music Address. Sorry, I can't even get the title of my own segments right. With that said, let's go on a break for some Spelunky 1 music this time, and then come back and talk about Spelunky. This break, you're going to be hearing Mines B, Temple C, and Ice Cave's Egg. We'll talk about like what that means when we're back, but again, that is Mines B, Temple C, and Ice Cave's Egg from Spelunky 1, composed by Eirik Suhrke, and we will be back. And you just heard, I'm trying to mix it up. I feel like my wife makes fun of me when she hears us record an episode. She makes fun of all my repeated lines.
And that was.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to become a caricature. Never become a caricature. you just heard Mines B, Temple C, and Ice Cave's Egg from Spelunky 1. So a thing I noticed, so most Spelunky 1 songs are very short. That's why I paired 3 of these together instead of the normal 2. That kind of also lends itself to the fact that I don't have that many notes for any of the Spelunky 1 songs. Like,
right.
They're all so synthy. I mean, again, I love them. I love the entire soundtrack for both these games, but I didn't have that much to say about a lot of them. That said, Mind B is probably my favorite Spelunky 1 song, period.
Sure.
It's definitely my favorite Mind song. That's not even a question.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
It has the most like Sega Genesis or Mega Drive sound to it to me. It's just the most blatant sounding synth that reminds me of that. It specifically really reminds me, there was a Sega Genesis Spider-Man game I had as a kid. I think it was Spider-Man versus the Kingpin. And there is the warehouse level, which I think is like the first or second main level of the game. And it always really reminded me of this Spelunky song. Or I guess vice versa, the Spelunky song reminded me of the Spider-Man song. But yeah, I beyond that, I don't really have that much to add. It's a damn cool song with like an absolutely disgusting bass line and synth. And then yeah, I also love that like at the very near the end, it starts changing things up, and there's like a transition around 45 seconds in. There's like a guitar starting up. Like that's cool, but yeah, there's not much else for me to add there.
Yeah, well, the Spelunky 1 soundtrack in general is interesting because, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but like most of these songs are like a minute in length, and they are just looping tracks. And I think that it's probably for a few reasons. First of all, it's probably due to things like limited budget and like, you know, having somebody composing these like wide sweeping tracks for this little, you know, Spelunky HD thing is probably not viable. But having like these minute-long looping tracks is really smart for a roguelike because, yeah, you're going to have to hear that stuff over and over and over again. So it makes sense to have something that can just loop. In Spelunky 2, the soundtrack kind of takes advantage of the like inherent timer that is on the stages. So you typically have about 3 minutes that you can spend on a stage period, you know, before like the ghost comes out or whatever. And the songs almost take advantage of that. This game kind of doesn't do that. This Spelunky 1 just focuses on a very like to me, I look at Spelunky as like almost an evolution of the concept of like arcade games, you know, like the sort of like the way that arcade games had looping tracks. I think Spelunky also takes inspiration from that. In fact, I know it does. I have the book from that Derek Yu wrote himself from Boss Fight Books, and like that sort of like arcade sensibility is a huge part of Spelunky's DNA. And anyway, I think that what's cool about the songs is that like Eirik Suhrke will take like these minute-long tracks and will intentionally almost like trip himself up. Like you're kind of mentioning that minor shift between like 30 seconds, 45 seconds, where like it's almost like, hey, we could have just stayed on this path, but we're actually going to veer a little bit. And the way that he manages to bring these tracks kind of back onto the course so that it can then loop again and feel naturalistic is kind of genius. Like it's pretty wild how much variety there is in just minute-long tracks in this game. And I think that both soundtracks are impressive in their own ways, but I think that Mines B is maybe the most stalwart like example of what I'm talking about. Because of what you're talking about. Like it starts off with, just this kind of like bit crushed, like synthy bass. You have like these like crashing noises kind of on the offbeat. But then, like it shifts to like this minor key. And then, it works in things like these guitar sounds and stuff. And it's like, oh, like this, the last 30 seconds or so kind of feels like a different song. But it's also not a different song because it loops right back into the first half of it. It's really, really impressive. And I think deserves flowers just on its own.
Yeah, a thing to note also with these titles like Mines B, Temple C, each biome besides Hell, I think Hell only has one song, but each of the other four biomes has 4 different songs that play. So there's A, B, C, and egg for all of them. I meant to note that when we came back. So that's also very different from Spelunky 2, which only has like one main song per biome. And there's a lot of people in the YouTube comments that really prefer the variety in Spelunky 1. And I do think there is something to be said about, like things don't get as repetitive in Spelunky 1, even though the songs are much shorter. But
sure,
they sound different enough. Like mine's A sounds different enough from mine's B that like that's enough to mix it up. Also, Spelunky 1 is a much faster game than Spelunky 2, so you're going from stage to stage much quicker, I find, especially once you get into like the second and third biomes. Like Spelunky 2 really slows down a lot, which I don't mind, but a lot of other people get weird about it, which again, we'll talk about that when we get there. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to mine's B?
No, I don't think so. I'm with you. I don't have like a ton of notes about a lot of the Spelunky 1 songs because again, they are so short. But yeah, I would agree with you. I think it's the best Mines song, even though they're all really good. Like all of the Mines music is really good. Yeah.
There was a part of me that was like, should we just play all of the Mines music? Like maybe
you
Spelunky
just did a run through the Mines.
Yeah. I think that could have actually been cool. I mean, if you're doing Spelunky, then you wouldn't even hear all these songs. So. Temple C, I really don't have like any notes. I just like this one a lot, and apparently this is not a popular opinion from what I was seeing in the YouTube comments. This is a lot of people's least favorite of the Temple songs. I don't necessarily know that it is my favorite Temple song, but it's definitely not. It's definitely up there. But yeah, I don't know. I just like that it has like this 80s action movie vibe to it.
Totally. Well, and it's like kind of weird and like warbly, right? Like it kind of, it manages to like feel, one thing that I like about the temple in Spelunky 1 is like, there's something about Spelunky 1 where like you're getting deeper and deeper in, and like the biomes in Spelunky 2 are so varied and different, every single one of them, that I love it. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. It's just a different take. It doesn't feel as cohesive as Spelunky 1, where I do feel like in Spelunky 1, I'm getting deeper and deeper into this like one environment. And the temple in particular, like all of a sudden the cavemen are now like hawkmen. You know what I mean? Like in the temple in Spelunky 1, where the kind of like types of enemies that you're used to seeing have kind of evolved a little bit versus being a completely tonally different thing. Like when you get to the temple in Spelunky 1, I feel like you feel like you're kind of unearthing like this kind of ancient, like oh wow, like I'm really deep in here, and I'm kind of like finding I don't know, like this buried like secret temple that like hasn't been unearthed in generations or something like that. And I don't know, Spelunky 1 like has that kind of feel in a way that Spelunky 2 kind of doesn't. And again, not a bad thing. I think just a different take. And I think that this song kind of captures that a little bit. It feels a little 80s action movie, but also kind of like scary and dangerous. And
dangerous is the word I had in my notes. Like there's something about like the temple, it definitely feels more threatening than every other area in the game, at least up to that point. And then that's without getting like Anubis and stuff, and getting to the Golden City and stuff. Like, there's something very mysterious about the first Spelunky, and we will talk about this in a little bit as from a gameplay perspective. But and the temple is kind of like the perfect example of that in the original, or rather in HD, I should say.
Sure.
And like Spelunky 2 has like these big moments of discovery and like feeling like you just unearthed some crazy secret, but it's way more like eldritch and cosmic scale in Spelunky 2. Definitely. Which I find I like that more, but I understand why other people wouldn't like it as much. Spelunky 2 gets real into lore in an interesting way, but again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. For Ice Cave's Egg, so each of the egg songs are like an 8-bit song. I don't know why it's specifically called Egg beyond maybe just Easter egg would be my guess.
Well, I think too. I think it's also the the music that plays when you have the eggplant, right?
Oh, is it? I don't even.
Yeah.
I never really messed with eggplants in 1 too much. I did in 2, but never really in 1.
Oh yeah, we've done the eggplant Yama run in Spelunky 1. Yeah, so when you have the eggplant, it changes the music to these songs. So that's a thing.
That is very interesting. I mean, yeah, even if you don't have the eggplant, like you will just randomly sometimes get the egg versions of songs more frequently than I remembered. I rebought this on Switch last month when I knew we were going to be doing this soon, and I hadn't played Spelunky 1 in years, probably like since Spelunky 2 came out, honestly. And I remembered the egg songs being much more rare, but I get like one like every couple runs at least, so that was nice.
I also think I might be misremembering this. I also, because the way you get an eggplant is you put a mystery box on the Kali altar or whatever, and it gives you the eggplant. The idea being that it's this very, very fragile item, but if you manage to carry it with you through the entire run, you can throw it at the final boss, and it just turns him into this big old eggplant dude that you can kill in like one hit.
Right. It's like an instant victory for like the crazy task you just accomplished. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I think that there's something too whenever you hear the eggplant music. I think that there might be, maybe I'm misremembering this. I think it might be like one of the items that you can get like on your first sacrifice too, when the eggplant music is playing. Like it also kind of signifies like, oh, like now that is one of the things in the rotation that you might get regardless of you using a mystery box or not. I could be wrong about that, but anyway, yeah, it's called Egg, I think, because of the eggplant music. They don't got eggs in this game.
Yep, no eggs. There is at least one big egg in Spelunky 2.
And 2,
yeah. Yeah, it's funny like how many hours I put in this game. Like I never really, because I didn't have anyone to play co-op Spelunky 1 with, and I was not trying to do a solo eggplant run. So
it's hard, dude.
Yeah, I was in the live stream when Bananasaurus Rex pulled off the solo eggplant run for the first time. So, like, I hope people don't think I'm a fake Spelunky fan because I didn't recognize that the egg meant eggplant in this case. I don't think about the eggplants as much in 1 because I just never really messed with it. Whereas in 2, I have done eggplant runs. My wife and I did an eggplant run. It was very fun, but yeah, we did not live together when I was regularly playing Spelunky 1. When it comes to the egg music, this is definitely my favorite of the egg songs, the Ice Caves egg. It feels like the most fitting of any of the egg songs to their biome. It just has like a very nostalgic feel to it. It honestly,
Totally.
It reminds me of like something you'd hear in an old RPG or something.
Oh, my main note here, like it feels cozy, would feel right at home walking at night in a town in a Game Boy RPG.
Definitely.
Like totally like it would be at home in a Pokemon game. It would be at home in Earthbound, like totally.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really all the notes I had for these songs, including that one. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, that was my main. It's funny that we landed on that same point. That was my main note. Yeah. It
really does sound like like Pokemon or even like Mario Tennis on the Game Boy Color or something. I could hear it there too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just something very cozy about it. Well, with that said, then let's actually start talking about Spelunky 1 or Spelunky HD, as it were. So Spelunky HD, this is a roguelite side-scrolling platformer released for the Xbox Live Arcade in 2012, directed by Derek Yu. I didn't realize this until looking at these notes, or looking up to write these notes, that it didn't even come out on PC in 2012. Like, it was an Xbox Live Arcade exclusive for like a year.
I think it was like a summer of arcade thing, I think.
I do remember that, but I didn't remember that it just straight up was not on Steam until like a year later, because I never owned a 360. I didn't even really know what Spelunky was until 2013 or so. I think I played it on PC shortly after it came out, just hearing all the praise about it. But yeah, it later came out on PC, PS3, Vita, PS4, and Switch. I will say The Switch version is like perfect. Even the Vita version had like slow down at times, especially in like the Gold Temple or City of Gold. But Switch version runs perfectly. Often is on sale for like sub $5. I think the default price is $10. So if after listening to this you want to play Spelunky, if you have a Switch, I highly recommend picking it up there. But yeah, I couldn't get over the fact that it released. Like, you would not have an indie game releasing exclusively on Xbox for a year nowadays. Like, to emphasize how much the gaming industry has changed in just like a decade. Like, that is basically unheard of nowadays, that a game like this wouldn't hit PC day one.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, back then, Xbox was probably the only, one of these three big publishers or whatever that was concerning themselves with indie games in that way. Like, Xbox Live Arcade was massive. Like, that was how I really got into indie games, was via Xbox Live Arcade. And one cool thing about them is, they would make Summer of Arcade was a big deal, dude. Like,
it was, yeah.
they would really like trounce that out. It would be like on the front, like, home screen of the dashboard. They really celebrated, like, when games like Braid and Castle Crasher, like, you knew that these games were coming out, and it was almost like a stamp of quality. Like, I bought the games that they highlighted sight unseen for these initiatives, because like I trusted that it would be worthy of my time if they were going to be highlighting it. And games that I normally wouldn't even play, like Kingdom of Keflings is a good example.
Oh god, I forgot about Kingdom of Keflings. Yeah,
like, I would have never played if I just looked at like the box, or like Rock of Ages. Like, if I just looked at like the box art of these things, I would have totally passed by them. But because they made a point to highlight them in that way, I was like, yeah, like, I'll give this a shot. And I cannot recall a time that they highlighted a game on Xbox Live Arcade in that way where I bought it and was disappointed. Like, that was how I discovered like Dust and Elysian Tale. Like, some of my favorite indie games were from that era. So
it's so interesting because, to me, from a like hardcore gamer perspective, I feel like one of the main pillars of success that Xbox had with the 360 was the emphasis on Xbox Live Arcade and the Summer of Arcade and stuff. And then they just immediately dropped it. And then Sony kind of picked it up for the PS4, and they became like the indie machine, like they were the ones promoting stuff. They were the ones that got Spelunky 2 a console exclusive release. And now they also don't really do that anymore. Now it's like just Nintendo doing it. It's weird. There's no easier way to like a certain demographic of gamers to get to their heart than like promoting indie games on a bigger scale. Like, I feel like Hollow Knight Silksong is like the last time there was an indie game at an Xbox big presentation, and even like that's Hollow Knight Silksong, like that's barely even indie, at least in terms of like the hype and whatever. But yeah, it's also it was just very interesting to me to look back and realize like, oh, the gaming industry really has completely changed since those days. We mentioned Spelunky is a roguelite. That is, if you're not aware what a roguelite is, basically the levels are procedurally generated and there's permadeath. So like when you die, you have to start the run over again. That's basically what we're talking about if you're not aware of what a roguelite is. That said, I've always kind of referred to Spelunky as a decision-making simulator and resource manager more than anything, because like that's what separates it from Mario, right? It's not like it's not like a roguelite Mario game when you're saying it's a roguelite side scroller. I don't think that does it enough justice. Like, you have a lot of like you start the game or you start a run with 4 bombs and 4 rope, and that's it. And you have to like figure out, okay, like when should I use these? Like, is now a good time to use a bomb? Like, that sounds very simple, and it is. But until you learn the rules of the game, it's deceptively simple, because learning the rules is like where the real challenge of Spelunky comes in and where the real joy of Spelunky comes in. And then, your goal is to get through like 4 or 5 biomes, depending on if you're going for the real ending or not, each consisting of 4 levels to complete a run of the game. The biomes are mines, jungle, ice caves, temple, and hell. And then along the way, you're collecting money, you're finding damsels that you're either saving or choosing to sacrifice. You come across shops and purchase items, and also discovering secrets. There are so many secrets in Spelunky. Do you remember what was like the last secret you found? I think for me it was the castle area.
Oh man, it was either that or maybe it was the worm area of Spelunky 1. Yeah, like there's so many like little even like I remember when we first heard about like how to properly go through and do like a hell run. That felt so crazy to me at the time, like all of the little steps you have to take in order to properly do that. And then like, I mean, that's completely child's play from basically anything you want to do in Spelunky 2. So like just all the steps it takes to achieve certain goals in that game. So yeah, that was always, I mean, it's so cool. It's one of my favorite things about this franchise in general is just like how much there is kind of bubbling under the surface, and how, you know, somebody could pick this up, play it, and enjoy it as a surface level thing, but it really is about learning the intricacies of it. It is about learning, like, not only the secrets that the game has, but like little tiny things. Like you start to develop, a decision-making language with the game in a way that like you don't with most games, I feel like, because the game doesn't have, something that is really common in roguelikes is like this concept of like build craft, like this concept of I can take things between runs. A lot of these games allow you to kind of create builds for yourself that you can bring into your next run, or, you know, whatever. Like I go through a run, I unlock something, and now my next run is easier. Spelunky doesn't have that. The next run is always going to be as difficult as the run before, fundamentally. However, you do develop a little bit of a language. Like if I see a jetpack in a shop, I'm stealing that jetpack.
Yeah, no matter what, I'm getting that jetpack one way or another, or I'm dying in the process. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. It's little things like that. It's you start to develop like, oh, I better make sure that I never leave a level without something in my hand, because what if there's an arrow trap or something that I need to set off? Oh, the hitbox is actually wider if I use the whip backwards when a bat is coming at me. Like little things.
I love, the backwards whipping. When you discover that, it's like a whole new world is open to you. It's also, I will say, much easier to whip the arrow traps, the arrows flying at you backwards because of that. Like
absolutely,
you just get like a little extra like frames of animation on the whip and hurtbox. My go-to example for like when you know you're starting to understand Spelunky, or like you've changed in Spelunky, is when you go from viewing the giant spiders as like something to be scared of versus, oh, that's a free paste bottle me now. Like that's
absolutely,
when you hit that point, it's so satisfying. I would argue that's like when I think of Spelunky, that's still what I think of is the first run I ever did where I wasn't scared of the spiders anymore. I'm like, ooh, like I went from going, oh no, a giant spider, to ooh, a giant spider. I think that's a free,
you get excited,
a free paste. Yeah. For anyone that doesn't know, the paste makes your bombs sticky bombs. You can stick them to walls and enemies and stuff. It's basically the best item in the game in both Spelunky 1 and 2, kind of. It is worth noting, Spelunky HD, this game that we're talking about right now, is actually kind of like a sort of remake or reimagining of what is now known as Spelunky Classic, or just the original Spelunky. That was a freeware game that released in 2009. Has like an 8-bit aesthetic. Again, it's the predecessor to this version of the game. I've never actually played Spelunky Classic, but from what I have seen over the years and stuff, it has like most of the broad strokes that you would expect. Like there's some different items and whatever, but the broad strokes of it are there, even if it, from what I hear, it's also much clunkier than Spelunky HD. It is still available for free to download on SpelunkyWorld.com. Every year I start thinking to myself, I should just try Spelunky Classic, and I just never get around to it. Did you ever play Spelunky Classic?
I think I did. I think I went on there and played it like post Spelunky HD was my first like exposure to it, and I think once I learned that was a thing, I was like, oh, I should try this, and I think I downloaded it, and yeah, I my memory of it is that the platforming did not feel that good. Like I remember it feeling like pretty clunky, because the other nice thing about Spelunky, at least when you get used to it, because I do think that there's a little bit of a learning curve with the way the game feels, but Spelunky 1 and Spelunky 2 are also just really good feeling platformers. Once you kind of like, they're nice, and like it's well designed in that way, on top of everything else. So yeah, going back to it, I remember playing it like once and being like, okay, cool, and then never thinking about it again.
Yeah, that's also, I think, what's always stopped me from actually bothering to download it, and just knowing that like I'd probably only play it for like 20 minutes and then be done with it, kind of thing. Yeah, from what I was able to see, the main content additions that HD had over Classic were the inclusion of Hell, Alien Mothership, the castle, a bunch of new enemies. There are some items in Spelunky Classic that never made it over to HD or to, I think there's like just like a handgun or something, which that sounds interesting. But yeah, it sounds like basically it's mostly there as just like a curiosity or historical piece. Like, it sounds like if you want to play Spelunky, you should probably just check out HD or 2 at this point. And yeah, HD also had new visuals and soundtrack, as well as multiplayer, which again, I only got to play multiplayer in Spelunky 1 a little bit. I imagine we're going to talk about it a lot once we get to that point where we're talking about the game in general, with you and your wife playing it. Real quick, I do want to talk about the accolades that Spelunky HD received. I copied and pasted this list down. I don't want to read all of this off, but it won like a lot of console game of the year, listed in like Wired.com's top 10 games of 2012, platformer of the year at GameSpot and stuff. This was like a very, like I said earlier, like how the game industry has like shifted a lot. I feel like this was like when indie games started to be considered like game of the year worthy. Like, you had stuff like Super Meat Boy and this and Binding of Isaac. Like, prior to these sets of games, this era of games, I feel like indie games just were never like considered that highly to that degree. So it's interesting that like Spelunky was the one, like one of the ones that was breaking that glass ceiling. However, more importantly to me, in terms of like Spelunky's legacy, is that I didn't really know what a roguelite or a roguelike was until Spelunky and Binding of Isaac back to back. Like, I had heard the term before, and I was kind of sort of vaguely aware that sort of what it was. But I remember hearing about Spelunky and hearing people talk about it was the first time I ever actually looked up what a roguelike was, you know? And again, you don't need to at me. I am well aware that roguelikes have been around since like the 80s or even prior. I'm aware, but no one was calling Toe Jam and Earl a roguelike back in 1991, okay? Like, that's all I'm saying. There was no reason to know what a roguelike was for most people until around this time period. And then, of course, now you have Hades, which is like kind of, I don't know, is that the most popular roguelite of all time at this point, or at least like a successful
Probably.
mainstream one?
Yeah, it's up there. Well, and I mean, you know, it's such a well-worn genre at this point. Like, if a game comes out, there's probably like a 30% chance it's a roguelike. You know, at this point, they're all over the place now in a way they weren't in 2012.
Right. Yeah. Roguelites and Metroidvanias are now like every other game that comes out is one of these, if not both of these things, honestly.
Well, yeah. I mean, the reason for that, right, is because it is in some ways, I think, easier on scale to design a game like that, where in theory you could play it for forever, versus a game where you intentionally design something that is made to be beaten once, and then maybe if somebody really likes it, they'll go back and play it. You can make something, again, I really view this as like the natural progression of like the arcade sensibility of, you would play Pac-Man or Donkey Kong or something with the idea that like, yeah, dude, like you're probably not gonna complete it on like your first try. It's all about the knowledge you gain, and, you know, going back in with new knowledge and getting better and better and better and learning the way the game works. These kind of run-based things, I think it's just the natural progression of design sensibilities that have been in place since the advent of video games, you know? So yeah, I think that it only makes sense, and I think that it also makes sense, like, for the indie space to latch onto it, because budgetarily you just have a set amount of assets or whatever to design, and then you just have to make sure that they fit, the Lego blocks fit together well with procedural generation. And like that is probably in some ways easier than having to create unique assets for the entirety of a game's runtime or whatever. So it makes perfect sense, I think, that this genre has like caught on as much as it has. But yeah, Spelunky, Binding of Isaac, like these really kind of like blew the doors off, I think, for the mainstream.
Also, from my perspective, even though we were just talking about how many games come out every week that are roguelites, there's nothing I love more than like sitting down with like a good roguelike on my Switch. If I'm like, okay, I'm going to get this like really addictive feedback loop on my Switch for the next weeks or months. Like I love that. I kind of forgot. I guess Balatro is kind of a roguelite, right? Like
totally is.
So yeah, like this genre has like completely blown up in the years since Spelunky HD came out. But yeah, I really viewed it as Spelunky HD and Binding of Isaac were the ones that like ushered roguelites into this new spotlight, or under the spotlight. Those were all like the specific notes I had written down for Spelunky 1. Where do you want to start with like talking about your experience with Spelunky 1?
Oh man, there's a lot, man. Like it's I mean, look, I think I mentioned this in the last episode, but yeah, my wife and I put like over 1,500 hours into this game, and it like it was a massive part of our lives. And it's funny. My wife moved in with me in 2013 was when we started living together. And when she moved in with me, she was kind of between jobs and stuff, and she was looking for new work in this new town that she was living in and stuff like this. And so we were just playing a lot of video games in the kind of interim. And I remember I have maybe shared this story on the show before, but she had like a real big stint with Minecraft for a while, where I remember when she first was introduced to Minecraft, like she started playing it that morning. I went to work, came home, she was still playing. I went to bed, she was still playing. I woke up and went back to work the next day, and she was still playing. Like, she was on Minecraft that first day for like over 24 hours before she finally passed out. So I say that just to say that when my wife is not like, she would not consider herself a capital G gamer or whatever, but the games that she gets locked into, she gets locked into. And I remember introducing her to Spelunky, not really intentionally. Like I was just playing it on my own. And I think I just kind of offered like, hey, like we could actually play this together. Like it has co-op. And she got absolutely hooked, and it very quickly skyrocketed to now she would say that Spelunky and Spelunky 2 are her favorite games of all time.
It's funny that you can be a not capital G gamer and still have the correct gaming opinion, because I agree with her.
Yeah, like that before Spelunky, she would have said like, oh, my favorite game is like Crash Bandicoot 3 or something like that. Like she loves Crash Bandicoot and a lot of those like early plays. She loves Spyro and stuff like this, but Spelunky really became it for her. And like I said, I mean, like we bought a whole PlayStation Vita just so that she could play Spelunky, whenever we were like out somewhere, so that she effectively never had to stop playing Spelunky if she didn't want to. So yeah, like it was really, it was a huge part of our lives for a long time. And my favorite kind of personal Spelunky story, and I've told this a few places before, but it was her birthday one year, I think in 2015. And again, we were so red hot with Spelunky for literally like 4 or 5 straight years. We were playing it every day. And I wanted to commission Derek Yu, if he would be open to it, to like draw something for my wife for her birthday. And so I just reached out to him via email, and I had actually met him at a PAX years ago. And it was one of those things like, hey, I'm sure you don't remember me, blah, blah, blah. And he was very nice and everything, but I reached out to him and I asked him if he'd be open to it. And he was like, oh yeah, like totally. I'd be happy to. I sent him like some reference pictures and stuff. And he ended up, I was expecting him to, you know, whatever, just like do something on like his iPad and like email it over really quick. But no, he drew like by hand with like, you know, pencils and ink and everything, a like handmade sketch of my wife in the Spelunky universe. Like she's tiptoeing around some spikes and there's like a snake and she's holding a bomb in his very like distinctive Spelunky art style. And it just says like, you know, like, hey Anastasia, happy spelunking or whatever. And like he like signed it and dated it and everything. And that is now like a totem in our house. Like we got it immediately like mounted and professionally framed, and it is a priceless artifact. It's anytime we move anywhere, it's the first thing that gets hung up. Like it is a precious thing to us. And anyways, one thing that was really funny, and I don't want to jump too far ahead here, but when Spelunky 2 came out, the main character of Spelunky 2 is named Anna Spelunky. And it's not Anna like A-N-N-A, it's A-N-A. And I kind of in my own headcanon was like, oh, weird. Like I wonder what that's short for. It could feasibly be short for Anastasia, which is my wife's name. But even more interesting than that, so my wife has one of like her defining features is she has like a mole on her cheek. And he, you know, noticed that when he saw the reference picture and he was drawing this picture of my wife, and the mole on her cheek is there on the picture. Anna Spelunky has that same mole. And so I'm like, I don't know if this was intentional or not, but in a weird way, I think my wife is the protagonist of Spelunky 2. And I don't know if this was like a thing, like he just sort of thought about it like subconsciously because he had drawn my wife already. But like if you look at the picture that he drew for me, it looks like concept art essentially of Anna Spelunky from Spelunky 2. So in my headcanon, I like to think that is what happened.
Ooh, hey, no one's going to correct us. That's what happened. Your wife is the protagonist of Spelunky. Your wife is the protagonist of whatever you want her to be. That's fine.
That's right.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. I think, like, to me, even just hearing about that, you know, I'm not Anastasia, but if I had that picture, that would also be a treasured thing. To me, you know what I mean? Like, that's how cool it is. Yeah, no, that's really damn good. I think for me, Spelunky, what it did for me as like a person is it really expanded my gaming tastes, which again, you know, at its core, it is still like a platformer. But what I mean is, like if you'd asked me at any point in my life from the age of like 4 to 24 or however old I was when I first played Spelunky, if you asked me what my favorite game of all time was or the best game of all time was, I would have just said Mario 3. Like, it's not even a question.
Right.
Super Mario Bros. 3, I wouldn't even think about it. And again, I'm not trying to take anything away from Mario 3, but as it turns out, as the decades go on, games do get better. Like, there are things that are better than Mario
Right.
3, but I didn't have, like, the critical thought capacity to think past, like, well, I played Mario 3 when I was 6 years old, so that's the best one, you know? Which is funny because I think even back then I was making fun of other people for not being able to see past that themselves. But I also had my own block, and it was Mario 3. And then, yeah, like I said, I think I must have got Spelunky HD on Steam on sale. I think that was like the year that I bought my first like gaming laptop. And so that was like right when I was really digging into Steam. I had an account for years at that point, but I was really digging in then. And maybe I got it on like a Christmas sale or something. And like I was excited to play it. I'd heard such good things. And yeah, I played like, you know, a few runs the first night. I'm like, okay, this is cool, but whatever. And then I put it down and didn't really think about it for a couple more days. And yeah, it just became something I was thinking about. I would go back to. And yeah, within like 2 weeks, it was like an addiction. And I was like, that was what I was doing with Spelunky. Like I was having tragic runs and in stupid ways. I mean, you still have that. No matter how many hours of Spelunky you have, you're still going to have that. But it like enveloped my entire being. It took over my life. Like before I bought that Vita, I was bringing my laptop to bed just to play Spelunky in bed, you know, with a big clunky gamer laptop in there.
Yeah.
like it really changed how I feel about games, because I was like, oh, so like me and my like Nintendo bias or whatever. I don't know that it was a Nintendo bias, but like a Nintendo preference, I guess. Like I couldn't
Sure.
see past like my own childhood and my own like biases and whatever. Like again, there was no game better than Mario 3 until Spelunky. And now, like, yeah, I don't know when it was, but at some point I'm like, oh, I think Spelunky is the best game I've ever played. Like, I think this has dethroned Mario 3. And like that alone is such a big deal for me, or at least it was back then. I look back now, I'm like, yeah, like I feel like my favorite game of all time changes every couple of years at this point. And that feels healthy to me, as opposed to being like, yeah, this crappy N64 game that looks like garbage and plays even worse. Like, this is the best game of all time. Like, no, it's not, it could be your favorite, but like, come on, like we can evolve past this. But that, I think, is what Spelunky did for me that makes it feel so special to me, and like why I freaked out so much when they announced Spelunky 2 and everything. Like, there was just something, I don't know, like that sense of discovery coupled with how good the platforming feels, and also it being like the first roguelike I ever played, and like learning the rules of the world, and the first time I robbed the black market successfully, that felt like you feel like a god the first time you pull it off, you know?
Yeah, man.
Because like the first time you get to the black market, they're selling the Ankh, and the Ankh gives you an extra life. So even when you're not even aware that like you need to use that to get to hell, like it still is an extra life, and you're like, oh my god. But it costs 50,000 gold, and you're almost never going to have that much unless you're ghost farming very early on. So it's like, well, how do I get this? Well, I mean, I could try and rob him, but yeah, there's like 8 of those shopkeepers there. And then yeah, the first time you do it successfully using, the go-to method now is, I just bomb the rocky platforms you start on to the left, and then put a rope next to the first shop, and then just toss a bomb down and let them start killing each other and stuff. But like,
let God sort them out.
Yeah. Yeah. Let them make their own destiny at that point. But it's very rote now. It's almost boring to rob the black market now, unless like you don't have that good of supplies. Then it is a little dangerous. But like the first time you do it, it's like unforgettable. I remember the first time I robbed the black market. I remember the first time I made it to the Temple of Gold, or City of Gold. I like, my jaw was on the floor and stuff, like that is what is special to me about Spelunky. And yeah, I don't know where I'm going past that, but like that those are my defining memories of the first Spelunky.
No, yeah, I am right there with you. I definitely, I mean, I remember like moments playing Spelunky 1 before, it became kind of second nature to me, of like, having to pause the game and like kind of like stand up and like shake it off, like shake off the nerves, like like I resonate so much with what you're saying about robbing the black market for the first time. I felt like I robbed an actual bank.
Yeah.
I felt like I did it in real life. Like I had to do a lap or something afterwards. You know what I mean? I'm like, God, I can't believe I just did that. Whew, man, I definitely had moments like that, and there's something so, because how easily everything can go wrong. You're always in Spelunky, no matter how good you are, you're just one false move away from everything going sideways.
Right.
And like you mentioned, like little things like doing like ghost farming, which is Spelunky, you can't just spend as long as you want in a stage in Spelunky. Otherwise, it would be too easy to just sit there and like farm it for everything it's worth and spend like 20 minutes in a single stage. So after a certain amount of time elapses, a ghost comes out and chases you down. If the ghost touches you, you die. However, in Spelunky 1, you can like leave gems or like whatever gold and valuables out. And if you bait the ghost around the level to where it passes over them, it will turn into a much more valuable gem. So if you're good enough, you can end up getting like a lot of money that way. But it's a risk reward thing, because again, if the ghost does catch you, you're instantly dead. So like everything in Spelunky is like that, where like if you want to set yourself up for something good, there's always, it's what you said, it's the decision maker simulator thing. Like you're always making decisions that could potentially like bite you, that everything could potentially go wrong at any given moment. So when you pull off what you want to pull off, you feel like the king of the damn world. Like, I am invincible. I am so cool. I mean, you look at Spelunky and you're instantly thinking of things like Indiana Jones or whatever. Like, the moment in Indiana Jones where he, like, in Raiders of the Lost Ark, where he swaps the idol, runs away from, like, the boulder and is dodging spikes and just barely makes it under the door, like, that feeling is Spelunky all the time. Yeah, like, that feeling is always happening. And yeah, like, you never forget moments like that, man. Like, when we pulled off that eggplant run, like, my wife and I jumped up and hugged, you know, like literally, like, we couldn't believe that we had done it. Like, I'll never forget that, you know, as long as I live, I'll never forget that.
I mean, yeah, you know, since I've been regularly playing Spelunky 1 and 2 again, you got me wanting to do some kind of eggplant run, because that really is the only thing I've never done in that game at this point. I think Spelunky 1 was the first game on Steam I ever got all the achievements on, which includes stuff like Speedlunky, where you have to beat the game in a certain amount of time, and then also the one where you have to beat it without picking up any gold. That I love playing the no gold runs. Like, that's just like a fun thing to try even after you have the achievement. It's just like a fun little challenge. And man, yeah, I love Spelunky. I honestly could play, like, let's just turn this into like a live stream or a recorded stream of us playing Spelunky 2 co-op right now.
Let's play some Spelunky right now. Yeah, no, it's great. And I also resonate with what you said about how, like, it kind of did get me to think about, I think, games more critically in that way. I remember catching some flack from my friends because I used to do Game of the Year write-ups every year. And I remember my Game of the Year in 2012 was Mass Effect 3. And it was it was only after, like, getting way deeper into Spelunky, I made another post in the middle of, like, 2013, where I essentially rescinded my 2012 Game of the Year list.
I like putting out an official statement.
Yeah, I put out a statement. And I was like, hey, everybody, actually, Spelunky was the best game of 2012. And I remember catching grief from a lot of my friends over that. But yeah, it's been a huge part of my life. I mean, for over a decade now, you know, and it's a huge part of my wife's life. And I mean, my wife plays Spelunky 2 every day, you know, still. So
I have things I want to say about that when we get to the Spelunky 2 section, specifically about Cosmic Ocean and how I'll never conquer the Cosmic Ocean.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I don't know. Did we have anything we wanted to add about Spelunky 1, or are we ready for our next break?
I mean, it's one of the, it feels too big. I don't know even, like, what else to say about it. You know, like
I'm with you. It was kind of weird making the notes for this because, like, there's just so much to talk about, but also I don't want this to turn into like 3.5 hours of us just like talking about how cool a certain item is. You know, and Spelunky 1 also compared to 2 is pretty simple when it comes to the items, because, like, the best build is like jetpack, cup, shotgun. Like, there's and paste. Whereas Spelunky 2, like, that's still probably the best build objectively, but, like, not situationally, you know. So, like,
there's for sure. You bring a jetpack into Volcana and it's dangerous.
Yeah,
you know, like,
I have almost never made it out of Volcana with any of, like, the jetpack equivalents on. Like, it's rough. I mean, that's what makes Spelunky 2 so much more interesting to me from, like, a decision-making simulator. Like, I get that there are a lot of people that like 1 more than 2, and I get it. I totally understand the arguments, and I even partially agree with them. But, like, when it comes to, like, a toy box full of interesting toys that all react to each other in different ways, 2 is, like, unparalleled in that way. Like, it is just that cool.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything else I really want to add about 1 either. I mean, I will say, you know, Black Market was crazy the first time I robbed that successfully. And yeah, the first time I beat Hell, I think I did, like, leap out of my chair and, like, whoop, and I'm not that kind of person at all. But, like, yeah, when you play this game, like, to emphasize, it took me, like, probably well over 100 hours before I beat Hell. I mean, it probably took me, like, well over 80 hours to even know it existed, you know. But yeah, that's just, like, the kind of feelings it elicits out of you. And, you know, it's hard too though, because I think about like people that might be hearing this and being like, oh, like maybe Spelunky is for me, or I tried Spelunky and I couldn't really get into it. Like, I get that too, but like, I truly feel like anyone could enjoy Spelunky, but you have to approach it as what it is and don't try and play it as like a linear Mario platformer. Like, that's not what it is. You have to, like, part of the game, much like Dark Souls, is dying and learning. Like, that is baked into the experience. Like Mario, they want you to succeed. Obviously, you're still going to die here and there, but they give you 99 lives or whatever.
Right.
Like, you are supposed to fail in Spelunky because it's not failure, that's learning. But I think a lot of people are conditioned to not think like that with video games, and it's a damn shame, because most of my favorite recent like video game memories are built around the idea of like, I failed this repeatedly, but now I'm succeeding because I learned. And Spelunky and Spelunky 2 are like the best games for that kind of experience.
I mean, I would go a step further even and say that like in my adulthood, I almost need a game to like challenge me in that way. Like I almost need it to give me something. I've been playing video games for so long that like I almost need something to give me a little friction. Like if a game isn't giving me you know, like something to chew on, something to think about, something to contend with in that way, like it's almost not interesting to me at all anymore. Like there's something to be said about playing, you know, whatever, like you know, whatever game I'm playing that's like more brainless or anything like that, but I do need something to latch on to. And yeah, I think that like my relationship with Spelunky when I first started playing it was not that dissimilar from something like a Super Meat Boy or something, where yeah, this is really hard, but like this is all about the experience of uncovering what there is to learn in there. That's the joy of playing this. And I don't just mean, you know, the little secrets that are like kind of actually designed and buried in the game, but also the just like the nature of playing it. I think is very, I don't know, different. Yeah, the only other thing that I would maybe want to quickly hit before we move on, and I wanted to, I was telling you this, I wanted to bring this game up because I don't know anywhere else I would ever get a chance to talk about it. Could we make a few minutes for just like Seth talks about Aquaria for a second?
You can, because I've never heard about it, and yeah, I didn't know if we wanted to talk about Derek Yu like more in the 1 or the 2 section. So yeah, I just didn't know where to put this in the notes. But yeah, if you want to talk about it here, go for it.
So this will be, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but Derek Yu, probably his first like big commercial game. Even though he's made like stuff in the past, like I'm Okay was probably his big breakout kind of game, which was I think the full title is like I'm Okay, a murder simulator, which was kind of made in response to like Jack Thompson. Remember Jack Thompson?
I do. I want to quickly talk about this real briefly before we get into Aquaria, because I've been thinking about Jack Thompson a lot again in the last like 6 months. Are you aware of the podcast My Perfect Console?
I've heard of it. Yeah, I've never listened, but I've heard of it.
It's good. I forget the person's name. I apologize if they ever hear this. I doubt they will, but I've listened to a few episodes. It's good, but I was introduced to it because he actually invited Jack Thompson on to talk about like more so his career. He doesn't play that many video games or whatever, but like the idea of the podcast is like you talk about like the 5 games that you would like, I guess if you're building your own console, you want your dream console to be able to play these 5 games kind of thing is the conceit. And with Jack Thompson, he was mostly just talking about like how Grand Theft Auto impacted and influenced his career as like a lawyer and all this stuff. It was very interesting hearing Jack Thompson nowadays removed from like his like ambulance chaser bit from 20 years ago, you know?
Right.
Because like I think there is actually a rational human there, and probably there always was, but like he came across as such an insane person, you know, again 20 years ago, but also maybe that's just because like modern times are so much more insane on like a daily basis. There's like 30.
He seems tame now.
Yeah. You know, I don't agree with the dude at all, and what his takes on video games were. That said, I do agree with like Grand Theft Auto shouldn't have been sold to children. I think most people could probably agree with that. But yeah, this I'm Okay game came about because Jack Thompson put out like a challenge to developers of like, hey, I'll give like however much money to charity if like I challenge you game designers to make a game called I'm Okay, a murder simulator about like a father who loses his son to like gun violence or something, and then he goes on a murder spree. And also they specifically have to be like of Asian descent for whatever reason. That it was, again, it's Ambulance Chaser, like Better Call Saul without any of the charm kind of stuff. But yeah, Derek Yu did make I'm Okay, a murder simulator, and I played it back then. I'm sure you can still find it. It's a freeware game, and for one, it's probably better than you're thinking it is, at least from my memory of it. But yeah, I did not realize until doing research for this episode that Derek Yu is the one that made I'm Okay. So that it was, again, worthwhile doing this episode for, just for me to learn that, because I never hear people talk about that game anymore.
Right, totally. So, like I'm Okay was interesting because yeah, like Jack Thompson had this weird like story outline of like, hey, make this game, and I think the idea was he was going to donate $10,000 to like a charity of the choice of like the chairman of Take-Two or whatever, who Jack Thompson was specifically really coming at. And then like after it actually happened, he was like, oh, it was just a joke, and then he never made it.
Right.
And so like Penny Arcade ended up making the donation in his stead, you know. And, anyway, I bring all of that up because I'm Okay happened, and it ended up becoming this kind of like little creative exercise for a lot of independent game developers, kind of in the sort of nascent age of independent game development. And one of them was Derek Yu, obviously, is the main kind of designer, but the composer of it was Alec Holowka, who would go on to compose for Night in the Woods and stuff like that, probably most famously. And that's how they ended up meeting, and they made a game together, just the two of them, called Aquaria. And Aquaria is a really special game, I think, for the time that it released. Aquaria, like I said, probably the first like big like commercial project of Derek Yu's, and this came out, I think, in like 2007, 2008 or something like this. It was pretty early.
I think when I saw when I was doing research, I think it was 2007.
Yeah, I remember it was like, it was before stuff like Braid and stuff like this had really like come out and hit. So like in terms of like when I think of like early indie games, I think of this. And it's this kind of like, I mean, it's a Metroidvania ultimately. But you play as this kind of like mermaid girl, like kind of like a siren, like this kind of like, you know, humanoid mer person. The entire thing has this kind of like underwater fantasy vibe, which I think is kind of like an untapped, like, I don't see that many games that look like this anymore, like a little Neopets adjacent, like in a weird way. Like
Okay.
there's something, I don't know, like there's something about underwater fantasy that feels very like specific and unique to me that I don't think many games tap into. And anyways, you play as this character, and she's like an amnesiac character. It's very clearly like Super Metroid inspired, specifically, and it's all about like the feeling of isolation and exploration and stuff. And what was really cool about Aquaria at the time, like this is before, like again, Metroidvanias are so synonymous with indie games now that like it's not, Aquaria releasing today would not be novel, but back then it was like extraordinarily novel. Even the way that you control it, because it doesn't control, like it's all underwater, so it ends up controlling like you know, like almost like more like an Echo the Dolphin or something than anything else, you know. And the main character of the game, like it has like a pretty robust like cooking mechanic. Like you find materials in the world and off of enemies that you combine like in a Breath of the Wild kind of scheme to create like meals that can give you like bonuses to health and abilities or whatever. Rather than getting like a bunch of different abilities, she gets like different forms that you use, and that's kind of how progress is gated in certain areas of the world. And It's a really cool... I don't know how well it holds up to modern scrutiny, because the game is now going on 20 years old somehow, but I remember it kind of blowing my mind when I first played it, because like there is, in the same way that Spelunky has like lore kind of like bubbling under the surface, this game does too. This game has like a really specific kind of like character driven plot that I think is, especially back then, totally like stand out and remarkable. It has voice acting and stuff like this, and it has an actual story to it. I remember the way I discovered the game actually was I used to be way into the 1UP show, and they interviewed Derek Yu, and I remember him talking about like, you know, yeah, like we wanted to make a Metroid game, but like what if you actually got to know Samus and like her backstory and stuff. And that was a big part. Like he wanted to lean into the story and like the lore of it, and you uncover really cool like secrets, and it's interesting. Like I can actually trace the through line of Aquaria to Spelunky in a lot of meaningful ways. A lot of the same sensibilities, the visual style of it, the bosses in particular. If you look at a boss in Aquaria, you can totally see like how that would translate to some of the bosses in Spelunky. Like there are bosses in Aquaria that just do look like Hundun or whatever from Spelunky 2. Like it I don't know. Like it's interesting looking at Aquaria as almost like a nascent kind of thing that inspired the stuff that he would make afterwards. And I don't know. I love that game. I don't think I've ever been able to talk about it on a podcast, period. And I would, again, I don't know how it holds up to modern scrutiny, but man, I would love to replay this game. I don't even know. I'm thinking still get it on Steam maybe, but yeah, I love Aquaria. I just wanted to talk about Aquaria.
While you were talking, I checked my Steam to see if I somehow owned it, never played it, which wouldn't be that uncommon, but no, it is not in my Steam account, unfortunately, because I would definitely be in the mood to play, especially with how much Spelunky I've been playing the past couple months. No, that's cool. I'm glad. I've never really... I knew the name and I knew he was involved with it, so on some level I must have known what it was. Maybe I also watched that episode of the 1UP show back then, but yeah, didn't really know anything about it, so that's pretty cool and interesting. Are we ready then to go on our break?
Let's do it.
For this break, we're going to be playing you Molten Factory and Still Waters, both from Spelunky 2, and we'll be back. That was, I'm trying to exaggerate it now to make my wife think that I don't care that she's mocking me. That was, hands down, my favorite. Hands down, my favorite song in Spelunky 2, Molten Factory, and then also Still Waters, which is also very good. Yeah, I don't have many notes about Molten Factory. It's just, like I said, it's just my favorite song in the game. Just such a damn good beat.
Yeah.
So Spelunky 2 came out the last couple months before I moved to Germany, and I was working at an office job at the time, and I worked like the middle shift, so I would leave at like 9 p.m. It's like when it started quieting down the last couple hours, the person whose desk I shared, like she worked the third shift, I worked the second shift. She had like nice speakers hooked up to our computer. And so like when things got quieted down, oftentimes I would just put on the Molten Factory music, like just late at night, not late at night, but like 8 p.m. Like my other coworkers have to like listen to this like goofy video game factory volcano song with me. Real good bass, just real good.
Oh yeah.
I I really like the volcano area in Spelunky 2 in general. I think it's probably actually my favorite. Well, nah, actually I think the area that Still Waters plays in, I think that actually might be my favorite.
Tide pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But either way, these are two very good levels and two very good songs.
Yeah, I think that I like Volcana from the perspective of like the things that can happen there, like the stuff that you can do there, the things that it can branch off into, I think are the most interesting. I also think it's really Volcana is a really fun biome in Spelunky 2 because like you've got the conveyor belts, like we talk about like how easily things can go wrong. Volcana is maybe like the best example of that. Because, like, there's all this instant kill lava all over the place that has, like, its own physics, you know, and everything.
Yeah, there's liquid physics in 2, which was, like, a big deal at the time. Like, that was a big thing they were promoting. And, yeah, the lava is where you will mostly experience the liquid physics in this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Like, it just creates these good moments, like... If you're going for Vlad's Castle, for example, and you have to use the drill, and you like look down and you see that the drill is going to go through some lava, you're like, oh god.
Yeah, either through like lava or like a Kali table or a shop or all three, and then you know that you're just going to have a miserable time.
It's like, oh, this is gonna suck. But I like that there's like setups like that. There's also like cool, you know, Spelunky is true of Spelunky 1 as well, but like you'll get these kind of like stage variants from time to time. You know, like the Dead or Restless or something where like there's, you know, more zombies and skeletons on the stage or whatever. And, you know, like there's like a variant of Volcana where like, yeah, it's a molten factory. Like it has like these kind of like bundles of scrap that fall on the conveyor belts, and you can kind of just like there's items inside. They act essentially as crates, and yeah, it's really cool. I mean, I don't have many notes about the song itself either. I mean, I really like the tone of it. It's got lots of like that like kind of twangy, like almost like mouth harp adjacent, like southern, like southwest kind of feel, like almost mixed with like some Middle Eastern inspired instrumentation. Like you've got lots of like kind of hand drums, some sitar and stuff, but also because this is Volcana is this, molten factory, there's like a lot of like subtle like clanking sounds and just like the sounds of like machine and metal, you know, that that all really works. The vibe of Volcana is really cool and interesting, and there are lava frogs there. Like, that's just cool.
Yeah, except for the fact that those lava frogs are like the most terrifying things in Spelunky 2.
Oh, they're horrifying. But it's just a neat idea.
On the very rare occasion where I get to drill one of those things, that feels pretty good. Like, just you're just gone. You're dunzo, lava frog. Speaking of just cool areas, the tide pool area, when I first got here in Spelunky 2, so let me back up for a second. So we'll talk about this more in depth, but in Spelunky 2 they introduce branching paths. Like the order of the biomes is still the same, but instead of going from mines or dwelling in this case to the jungle, you can also instead go to Volcana, the factory area we just talked about. Yeah.
Well, and it's so smart too, the way, I'm sure you're just about to say this. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go for
it. The way that it's set up is so cool and smart in Spelunky 2, because after you do that, you do the branching path to Volcana or jungle, then you fight the final boss of Spelunky 1, which is Olmec. Like, not the final boss of Hell, but the final like main boss of Spelunky 1. You challenge him again, and then the path branches off again. It's so smart for Spelunky 2 to essentially say, like, yeah, remember this guy? Like, the game's only just getting started.
Right.
When you get to what the final boss of the first game was, and they completely subvert expectations, because you're used to the way you had to take out Olmec in the first game of, like, getting him to essentially, like, kill himself in the lava by making him, like, you know, destroy the platform underneath your feet. When you do that in this game, there are many layers to that, and he, like, completely shifts into this like bomb spewing UFO. It's so cool. Like it's like I can't describe how cool that was when I first encountered that in Spelunky 2. Like, what a cool subversion of expectation for Spelunky 1 fans, you know? And Anyway, yeah, I just had to gush about that for a second. It's so neat the way that structurally Spelunky 2 is always like saying, hey, even if you put 1,500 hours in Spelunky 1, you ain't seen nothing yet, you know?
Yeah. The first time I got to Olmec in
Right.
2, which, you know, that didn't take that long. Probably maybe even the first night I played Spelunky 2, I probably got to him. But I was like, what? Like, why am I already at Olmec? Like, what's happening? And then, like, you can pretty easily, like, if you have enough bombs, you can just, like, not worry about him and just go underneath one or even both layers and go to then either the tide pools or the temple. Which I think I did for a long time. I just ran past him without even wanting to bother with him. But yeah, so from my perspective, when I first started playing Spelunky 2, I was sticking to the Spelunky 1 path of dwelling, then jungle, then temple. And like, because I went to the volcano area a couple times, I just instantly got by lava or whatever. I'm like, whatever, this sucks. And just went back to like the route I was used to. From my perspective, I don't know if everyone feels this way. The volcano is way easier than the jungle, and obviously we already talked about it, the tide pool is extremely easy compared to the temple. Not that tide pool is easy by any stretch anyway, but compared to the temple, it's nothing. But I didn't know that because I just kept going for the temple stuff like an idiot. It took me probably like days or even weeks to like really go to the tide pool. And I remember I was actually streaming it. Again, this is before I left America. And I was streaming it for my wife so she could watch at the time. And the first time I made it to tide pool, I was streaming it. And her and I were both like, what? Like, what is this? It's like a flooded, like, Chinese temple area. It's so cool. Like, this music hits. Like, I remember pausing it, like, much like you were talking about with Spelunky 1. This was like, I need a pause and take a break moment here. Like, this is actually kind of crazy. But yeah, that's the main memory and, like, association I have with tide pool and still waters is, like, I spent like, probably dozens of hours banging my head against temple only to realize, like, oh, I'm an idiot. I should just go this other route.
Tide pool and Still Waters is a great piece of music because I think it really like, when I first got to tide pool in Spelunky 2, I lost my mind. Like I like that was when I was like, oh right, because dwelling is like, okay, I have a tether to dwelling that it's not that dissimilar from mines in Spelunky 1. Like tonally, it's not that, it is different, but it's not that different, you know. And then like, you've got jungle, which has a tether to jungle in Spelunky 1. You've got Volcana, which is like a tether to hell in Spelunky 2 a little bit, you know, to the point where my wife actually still doesn't call it Volcana, she calls it hell. And so like you have this kind of tethers to Spelunky 1, and then you have temple. Tide pool is like, it's like, oh wow, like no, this really is like very different. Like they're going for something different here. And for me, it's where the run really kind of takes off. Like when I kind of like I have many runs that, you know, I do something stupid and I die in, you know, in Volcana, or I die in even dwelling all the time. But like when I get to tide pool, I'm like, okay, like we're locked in now, you know, like that's when I know that the run is really kind of heating up. And I love the, like, with the song with Still Waters, like, you come into the stage and it just kind of kicks off, and it's got this real great juxtaposition between, like, the kind of, like, quiet, gentle reverberation. Like, you feel like you've stepped into this, like, ancient grotto or something. You hear, like, the water noises and stuff, but then it has this very shrill, kind of, like, I don't know what instrument they're using. I don't know if they're using like an erhu or something like that. Like these like Asian string instrumentation that's coming in very high register, very shrill, almost like not allowing yourself to be lulled into a sense of comfort, you know, like, hey, I know that this is cool and ancient and still, but also you should still be on your guard, you know. And there's some scary stuff in tide pool. Yeah, it's infinitely easier than temple and infinitely less scary than anything that happens in temple, but you could still very easily get got by one of those big crab dudes, or like totally
the bear traps that are hiding like behind the coral sometimes.
It's a very different vibe. And I also think that tide pool, and even this song Still Waters, is maybe your first flirtation with oh, there's like a darkness to Spelunky 2. There's a weird eldritch underbelly to Spelunky 2 that maybe I think is kind of hinted at here. But there's also like weird mishmashes of vibes because there's like that club that's in Tide Pool, that like that Madame Tusk club and everything that you buy all of the shopkeeper items and you can get in, and yeah, it's really interesting. Like that's where the run really kind of forms for me, is Tide Pool.
Yeah, like when I think of Spelunky 2 now, 4 years on, Tide Pool is what I think of. Like even just like the general color scheme, like how it's like very greenish blue and there, but with like pillars of red and stuff. Like, yeah, this is what I think of when I think of Spelunky 2. Also, yeah, the Madame Tusks, here it's the gambling hall, and then learning that Derek Yu programmed away so you can like always roll either snake eyes or double sixes or a 6 and a 1. Learning that he programmed that in there was amazing because it makes it so much easier to get all the items out so you can get an invite to her club in the Neo Babylon or whatever the next area is called. But yeah, that's getting very, very specific. I don't have anything else to say about the songs. Did you have anything?
So. Yeah, they're very good, very evocative. I think it's cool that we paired these two songs together because I think between these two songs, I think you get a really good sense for like the shifts in tonality in Spelunky 2 and how truly different all of the biomes feel, which again, I don't know if I prefer it one way or the other over Spelunky 1, but I do love them both differently and separately for that. So.
I didn't realize till now, but yeah, this main Spelunky 2 songs we played are the first, second, and third biomes. Well, as long as you're on this specific path, I guess. Also worth noting is that, yeah, if you still want to go to jungle, but then go to Tide Pool, you can do that. It's just like you're not set on one specific path or the other. You can still choose at each of the forks in the road. Which, yeah, just a quick note, because I spent a long time thinking that you had to go one route or the other for whatever reason. Spelunky 2, then, the direct sequel, obviously, released in September 2020 for PC and PS4, later came to Switch and Xbox. The Switch, the announcement of it coming 1 and 2 coming to Switch and whatever direct that was, or maybe Indie World, that was one of my like stand up and clap moments. I don't get many of those with video games nowadays, but that was a stand up and clap moment. I have a note here that this was announced in October 2017 that this game was coming. And do you remember where you were the day Spelunky 2 was announced? Because I definitely do.
I was at my old apartment, and this was announced during a state of play a PlayStation state of play that I did not watch because I didn't really care to. But I should say too, Spelunky 2 is so like synonymous and well known now. Before Spelunky 2 was announced, I had no inkling in my mind that we would ever get a Spelunky 2. That would ever be a thing.
Yeah, same.
Like that would ever be something that A, Derek Yu was interested in doing, but B, something that would ever exist in the form that it does, and that it is, I mean, it's so much deeper and so much more involved than Spelunky 1. There's so much more going on here. And I remember going on Twitter that day, and like after the state of play, which again, I didn't even watch, and seeing that like announcement trailer on Twitter, I'm like, wait, what? Like the Spelunky 2 was announced during this stupid PlayStation state of play. Hang on, what? And like I remember like watching that trailer, and the trailer is so good. That reveal trailer was so cool, and I remember sending it to my wife, and like she didn't even respond to the text. She just called me. She was at work, like she didn't even respond, and she was like, what? Like, excuse me? And like she was watching it while I was on the phone with her, and she was like, oh my god, like she's like, what the hell is going on? You know, it was a cool moment. I definitely remember when Spelunky 2 was announced.
The main reason I remember where I was, I mean, for one, I probably would remember regardless because, yeah, it was Spelunky 2. But the it was announced the Monday. A bunch of us had went down to Nashville to celebrate Wilk's marriage that weekend, and we were leaving on that Monday. And then I woke up like hungover, very just disoriented, and like literally the first thing I saw was that Spelunky 2 was announced on like Twitter or whatever. And like then we went to go eat like chicken and waffles, and I'm still like just kind of in disbelief. I was like, how? They just announced Spelunky 2 on a random Monday in October while I'm in Nashville eating hot chicken and stuff. Like it felt like surreal to me. And again, it probably would have felt that way regardless of when it was announced, I guess. But it was very, very weird at the time. And again, this is kind of, we talked about like the state of like the game industry when it comes to like indies and promoting them on major consoles. This is one of the last times I really remember that happening on a non-Nintendo console. Like Nintendo or PlayStation like swooped up the console exclusivity for like a year on Spelunky 2, which I assume that's why it was on PS4 day one as well as PC. Whereas, like, why couldn't you all have done that for UFO 50? If that was also on PlayStation, I would have bought that on PlayStation. But yeah, I just wanted to note that I just think it's very fun. A lot of my gaming memories of 2017 have to revolve around Wilk's marriage, because like that was also the weekend Mario Odyssey came out, and I played it for like 6 hours straight in the back of a car. I had multiple charge packs for my Switch as we drove down to Nashville. It was what a gaming weekend, even though it was not supposed to be a gaming weekend. So Spelunky 2, as Seth said earlier, it is like in all ways just like a bigger and more feature rich sequel to Spelunky. Like anything you can think of from Spelunky 1 is in here, but also just more and more. There's just a ton of new items, new kinds of shops, the new and old biomes. There's branching paths, handful of different mounts to ride, each with their own unique abilities. Like each biome has its own unique mount. Online multiplayer, seeded runs. There's probably tons of stuff we forgot to mention. Again, the liquid physics, which were like, I think in the first trailer they were already like showing off the liquid physics at the time. And as we also mentioned earlier, just like a way bigger, not exactly focus on lore and backstory, but there's just way more of it here if that's what you're wanting to find, you know? Like even the setup is that Anna Spelunky is looking for her parents that like went missing on the moon decades ago or however long ago it was. Honestly, like when it comes to the story and the lore, I was pretty shook at multiple points of it. Even like the aging of the characters, like Guy Spelunky being older and having like a beard. It's cool. Yeah. He looks so much cooler now. I love playing as like the older Guy Spelunky. Even like, the meta references like the Bananasaurus Rex, like solo eggplant run, even the fact that like the hardest area to get to in the game, even more so than Cosmic Ocean, is like the eggplant world. And so like canonically, Yemo was defeated with an eggplant then, which that sentence sounds stupid. Canonically, Yemo was defeated with an eggplant, but it's true. And like, it's a reveal here, and that's super cool.
Yeah, I love that stuff. And I like there's a sense of continuation with it, but also like, there's just like such a further sense of weirdness, which, you know, Spelunky's always had a sense of weirdness. Like there's something very particular about, and I think a lot of it comes from Derek Yu's art style. Like he has, I don't even really know how to describe it. There's like I don't mean for this to sound like a dig. There's an appreciation for ugliness that Derek Yu has. Like he's willing to make things look, even though they're hyper stylized, but almost like a Garbage Pail Kids adjacent, like, I don't know, like an appreciation for like the sort of like gritty human side of the way things look. Like things can look very nasty in Spelunky, you know?
Dude, I know what you mean, especially when it comes to Neo Babylon and like the little brain aliens, and not even just the way they look, though. That, I mean, they're like brains with a face and feet, but like even when you like kill them, like by jumping on them, like they make noises like oh. Like it's ridiculous.
Like, and this even carries like Aquaria has some of this. UFO 50 has a lot of this where I don't know, like he has an understanding. He has a way of tapping into like just something that feels very like gritty and real. Like it doesn't look like a clean, even though it is like visually very clean and everything. It doesn't quite. It understands like the grittiness, I guess, of real life. Even the ocean kind of has this vibe too, which isn't a Derek Yu game, but there's something about that. Like I love games that kind of, now that I think about it, Aquaria and even the ocean remind me a lot of each other visually. But anyway, I just I really like that about the tonality of Derek Yu's games, and certainly Spelunky. And yeah, like I even just that I think gives the game a sense of like unique identity and cohesion between the two of like, oh right, like there really is nothing else that feels like these games. Like there's not a lot of games that have like that sense that Spelunky does. And yeah, like I can only really get that from here. And even stuff like, you know, we've mentioned the Cosmic Ocean a few times, just how weird and like eldritch and like strange that and yeah, cosmic that is. Like the fact that that's in there is cool. The fact that like, you know, these areas all have bosses and stuff is cool. You know, I don't know. Like it's just Spelunky 2 really feels like it's so much more fleshed out in just about every way.
Even in like ways you never like thought of. I think my favorite lore reveal is that the shopkeepers are all like clones. And for one, it's not like that isn't said in text. It's only revealed like if you go to the mothership, which by the way is like way harder to get to in this game. And like in the background, there's like a giant test tube with like a shopkeeper
floating
that they're cloning, and like that explains why there's so many of them. Yeah, he's in like a liquid,
Snoke
like
in
green
the
tube.
Star Wars sequel trilogy.
Yeah, exactly. What was the deal with Snoke? Like I know he's like a clone or whatever, but like, is he a clone of a specific person, or is he just like they just manufactured him, or like, what's going on?
Original Snoke who was like a collector or something. I think it was revealed in either a comic or a book or something that there was a sort of prime Snoke that that was I think like a prolific collector or something like this, and yeah, Palpatine wound up kind of assuming that identity and making a bunch of clones of him and kind of operating through the mouthpiece of clone Snokes. Yeah.
I don't ever think about Star Wars that much, but you mentioning Snoke right there made me realize I didn't actually know what the actual origin of Snoke was, beyond that there were a bunch of clones of him. So I figured, yeah, of course, you would know nothing if you just watched the movies. For some reason, Emperor Palpatine returned. But yeah, I think just small stuff like that. I love that. I drove myself like I felt like a crazy person, but yeah. The last month of me not being in America, or of being in America before moving, I wasn't working. And so like I had more free time on my hands. So like I wanted to dig in and get the platinum trophy in this. And I remember being up to like 3 or 4 in the morning some nights, just being like ponderous. I'm like, what does this mean? And this mean like, there's like, cause it's so much harder to get to the Cosmic Ocean here than it is to get to Hell. Or I should even say Cosmic Ocean isn't the Hell equivalent. I would say that's like, what was it called? I forget what the area is called after Neo Babylon, where you fight Hundun, but that's what like the Hell equivalent in this game. Whereas Cosmic Ocean is its own thing. Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but Cosmic Ocean is like this super difficult end game thing that kind of rewires the rules of Spelunky a little bit. And so you go through this extra area after Neo Babylon and you have a hard boss fight. But if you do all this extra stuff and you have this like arrow of light that you can shoot into the eyeball of this giant chicken egg, you get transported to this like cosmic dream realm. I think the implication is it's the dream of Hundun, if I remember correctly. And then instead of just having to find the exit in all these new levels, for one, it doesn't end at 7.4, it goes up to 799 then. And then so each stage is from a different biome, and you have to hunt down these little bubbles and destroy them, and then a jellyfish chases you and tries to one-shot you. It's like a ghost, but way worse. So the real 100% ending of Spelunky 2 would be to make it through 799.
Absolutely.
And I have never come anywhere close. I think the furthest I ever got was like 740 or something. And that was just like a god run. I had everything I needed, but I'm sure like a stupid mummy cat
I think
got
I've gotten
me
to
or
like
something
7,
dumb
like
happened.
18 or something, I think is the highest I've. It is incredible. It's, first of all, it's incredibly hard just to get there at all. Like, just to get there at all, it's this multi-step process that involves like, carrying this arrow with you, getting an egg that hatches to like a mount that can kind of infinitely float in the air, which is the only way to like reach the cosmic ocean and, to reach that area at all. It's insane, the stuff that you have to do to even get there to begin with. But then when you get there, it is also by far the hardest challenge in the entire game. Every stage of it, you're just fighting for your damn life.
Yeah, like we mentioned like Kali and the cup before, but we didn't really talk about it in Spelunky 1 and 2 when you have a damsel. So whether that be like the default like woman damsel in 1 or they replace them with pets in 2,
so cool.
Yeah, and she's like badass and stuff. Yeah. Well, I want to talk about that in a second too. But yeah, if you choose to sacrifice a damsel at this like sacrificial table to the blood god Kali, if you sacrifice 2 damsels, you can get there other ways too. But the easiest way is just 2 damsels. You get a cup, and the cup, whenever you hit an enemy that bleeds or kill an enemy that bleeds, they drop blood droplets. And if you touch those blood droplets when you have the cup, you absorb the blood. And once you get like 7 or 8 blood droplets, you get an extra health point. So you can start really like racking up health. Like that's basically a necessity for the cosmic ocean. Like no matter how good you are, you're going to get like poisoned or something or take a ton of damage in the cosmic ocean. But the only way to survive is with that blood cup. If anyone has ever made to 799 without the cup, I want to see it because that sounds like nonsense to me. What's interesting too about the damsel thing, I think Derek, you changed the damsel. Yeah, by default it was a woman, but there were options for a man and a pug, and then like secretly the sloth when he added that in a patch. He said in an interview, I don't remember the exact words. I didn't find this interview, but that he changed it to pets because it is kind of blatantly kind of sexist to have like the default damsel in distress just be a woman. Even when you have like a male option too, it's still like the fact that the default is the woman that is like an intrinsic bias, right? And I think he specifically said it's because his daughter like got older and played Spelunky and that he did that for her, which I think is very. I mean, for one, it's beautiful, but it's also just it's so thoughtful and like. I don't know. It's nice. It's nice that someone that thoughtful is making games, like on that level, even, it's the Nintendo not doing much with like Peach and Zelda until recently thing. Like it took decades for them to do something like that. But, this one man making this largely solo effort, especially when it comes to like Spelunky Classic and stuff, has the realization of like, oh yeah, this would be better representation that I want my daughter to see in the world. If I just make this small change, like that's nice. Derek Yu just seems like a really interesting dude. I always love like, I wasn't seeing much of him for a while until this past year when UFO 50 was about to come out. And then he was, being interviewed more and stuff as that game approached release. So that was nice for me just to like see him out in the limelight a little bit more often in the past year or so. But I really enjoy his takes on games. I remember when Spelunky 2 was coming out, we talked about it a little bit ago, but like Hades kind of overshadowed Spelunky 2 from like a roguelite standpoint, I remember. And I remember there was a lot of discourse at the time of like, I don't really feel like playing Spelunky 2 because Hades is just so good right now. And, you know, I understand from like a time perspective that might be true, but like it was frustrating to me. I don't know. It's like comparing apples and oranges at that point. Like, they're not the same game at all, besides the fact that they're both roguelikes, but they're very, very different takes on roguelikes, you know? And I remember people were like weird about it. And I even kind of mean like journalists, some were kind of weird about it, people in the gaming space. But I do remember there's like a rando that tweeted at Derek Yu and was like, hey man, you have to convince me why I should buy your game. Like that was basically that blatant. But Derek Yu responded in like a very thoughtful way. And he was like, because the person was saying like, I don't want just like another hard game to play. Like if I have to put 100 hours into this to beat it, then I don't really want to play it. And Derek Yu was saying that, you know, I mean, for one, it depends on who you are and like what your experience with games are and stuff. But like, the problem is you shouldn't be viewing Spelunky as like a game to beat. You should be viewing it as like a fun thing to play and like fool around with. And like, if you happen to uncover all the secrets and beat it, that's great for you. And like, congratulations. But like, just view it as like, again, a toy box that you can like pick up different toys and play with and just have fun with. And yeah, it's frustrating that like that needs to be said that like, hey, at the end of the day, what does it matter if you beat a game or not? Well, like as long as you're having fun along the way. I agree,
first of all, and I also think that the differentiator for me between something like Spelunky 2 and something like Hades is that Hades does have like an end point, right? Like Hades does have like a story that it wants to tell you. I'm not saying that it's better or worse than what Spelunky does. What I am saying is that after finishing, in quotes, Hades, like I don't think about Hades anymore. It's a great game and I loved it. I had a great time with it and I spent a ton of time with it, but I don't return to Hades anymore. You know what I mean? Like I don't go back to Hades. I go back to Spelunky and Spelunky 2 all the time, nearly daily still, you know? And I think that's the difference maker. And I think it's also, again, just indicative of those like kind of arcade inspirations of like, yeah, you didn't go into the arcade and say like, yeah, I really am sitting here like I got to see what's up with the story of the Simpsons arcade game. Like I'm going in there because it's fun to play the Simpsons arcade game. You know.
Well, you know what though, Marge did have the bunny ears still in the Simpsons arcade game, and that I find intensely interesting. That said, though, again, those are kind of like the main notes that I had written down for Spelunky 2. I guess what I really want to ask, what I find the most interesting, because there's a lot of discussion on the internet of people comparing Spelunky 1 to 2 and why they like one more than the other. Like, what were your favorite specific things that they added into, be they, again, the biomes, any specific items, any mechanics? Like, what were like some of your overall just absolute favorite things they did here?
I think, I mean, we talked extensively about branching paths. I think that's a big thing for me. I think that like even, you know, little like variations, little things that they've added to Spelunky 2, like the mounts, I think are a big deal. I'll almost always go out of my way for the mounts because they have like some kind of practical effect, like the turkeys in dwelling. I mean, they can show up elsewhere too, but the turkeys are so useful. Like, not only can the mounts have like a double jump or something, but the turkeys can get like cooked, you know, like and you can get extra health from them. Yeah. So often, I will, and even like little things like when there's like a guy, my wife and I call him the Turkey Man. There's a guy who's like looking for his missing turkeys, usually on 1-2 or 1-3. And if you find them and bring them to him, he gives you a key, unlocks like a little back layer area, which the back layer is also a crazy new mechanic in Spelunky 2 that rules.
And I didn't even think to write it down, but
changes
it's
everything.
huge.
There's
it changes
basically
everything,
another layer to the stages of the game that happens in the back of it. And anyway, you go back there, maybe there'll be a crate or something if you're lucky. It's usually not very good. However, on the next stages, the Turkey Man will have his own shop set up where you can buy just like 4 turkeys for pretty cheap and just use them for either health or whatever you want. And also turkeys will intermittently spawn for like basically the rest of the game. and so you start to learn little things like that, and that's like the kind of depth that anytime Spelunky 2 adds anything, it all has like that layer of depth to it. There's no like superfluous junk in there that they added just because, oh, that'd be cool. Like everything has something else to it. Spelunky 2 also has Waddler, who is my favorite Spelunky character, period. Waddler is my boy. I love that dude, and I didn't even know that he was in there for a long time. Discovering like that Waddler was in the game felt like it felt like a creepy pasta or something. Like
yeah. For one, Waddler, if you don't know, is like this green slime, like really big green slime with like a mustache and a face. And he's also got like items sticking in and like through him, like a compass sticking out of his head, because he's awesome. And he will carry your items later in the game. What that effectively means is that like, if you're playing single player, your best bet is to like leave key items that you want later with Waddler and then try and find him again. And like that's basically the only way you can progress to get to the Cosmic Ocean is by utilizing Waddler. You have
to like drop items with Waddler and pick them back up later in the game. He'll carry them through really far and everything. I think up to Temple is his final area. And anyway, he yeah, man, like I remember like finding that out for the first time, being like, hang on, what? Like there's this weird like slime dude in here if you like bomb in the right area in Olmec's lair. Like, hang on, what?
You can also find him in the ice caves. I think that's the only time where his stuff is more openly and easy to see besides the last area. I think that's where I found him the first time. I was like, what the hell is this? And then once he told me he'd carry my items further, I'm like, okay, well, what's the point of that? Because I didn't understand
stuff like that is so sick. And that's what I mean. Like they don't add anything in there just for the sake of it. Like all of the new additions are in there, and they all, like, it feels like they've extracted like so much out of everything they've added. I mean, yeah, even like the way that you get like the Ankh in this game is worked into the back layer of Olmec's lair, and the ways that you can get there are all totally different and totally well considered. And the things you can do with the Ankh are completely different in this game. And I don't know, like everything just feels so much more like thoughtful, and it's my favorite kind of sequel because it understands what they did with the first game, and it really does feel like they had like almost a notepad of like the design document of the first game next to them when designing the sequel, you know?
Yeah, definitely. You can see that in so many ways. Like, again, we talked about in Spelunky 1, I think you have 2.5 minutes in a level before the ghost shows up. In Spelunky 2, you get 3 minutes because the levels are a bit bigger. And the ghost is still the same. Like, he just wants to, or she, I think, wants to just touch you and you die in an instant. But yeah, you can also, again, make the ghost go through jewels to turn them into diamonds. What's interesting is that in Spelunky 1, especially if you have a jetpack, the ghost basically doesn't matter. Like, it unless you make a mistake or there's like other enemies on screen that mess you up, the ghost isn't going to touch you if you have like the right items. And nothing ever changes with the ghost. It just slowly is pursuing you. Whereas in Spelunky 2, once the ghost is on screen long enough, it actually splits into 2 ghosts, and then the ghosts like start doing different things. Like they'll surround you, and so like even just that is mind blowing coming from Spelunky 1. And yeah, what it feels like to me, a lot of it was like, okay, so everyone just goes for the cup and the jetpack on every run. So let's make that harder. I feel like Kali tables are more rare in this game, and it's also harder to get damsels to the table. But then like the jetpack, so the jetpack is like a subset of a whole different item class now of like wearables. So, like there's like a teleporter pack and a hover pack and a power pack.
It's so cool.
I love the power pack, and I don't get to use it that often, but it's very cool. Yeah, the power pack like enhances all of your attacks. Like your whip becomes a fire whip, and your bombs get bigger. Or if you're using a shotgun with it, like you don't have as much recoil or something, and you can shoot faster. But the problem is all of those items are really good, especially the hover pack. I think the hover pack is my favorite new
really underrated
equipment in the game. I think it's so much fun. Yeah, it's if you combine the hover pack with the gloves, you can do almost everything you could do with a jetpack, but way more safe. But the problem with all the wearables is that they're flammable. Like if any fire touches you at all, you're just gonna explode. And even if you have enough health to survive, that item, it's gone. It's exploded and it's done. So like I've had runs where I had the hover pack or the jetpack in the cosmic ocean and I had like 70 health, but yeah, I got grazed by a fire dude and I lost that pack and I was still alive, but it was not a good situation. So it's like the jetpack isn't the meta anymore, or at least again, it is still probably objectively the best item, but there's way more risk to taking it and choosing to carry forward with it. And that is so neat. You can also, in a pinch, you can also like use it as your own explosive if you really need, like unequip it.
I didn't even know that you could
explode or
unequip
whatever.
that stuff until like pretty recently, like relatively recently.
Yeah. Because like if you kill yourself in the tide pool, like you die by lava in that case, so your jetpack would explode. So yeah, if I would have the jetpack on me then, or another of the wearables, I would take it off before going in that tunnle. Yeah. I think it's what you hold down the down button. I didn't even know it was a thing. Or something I
saw my wife doing on a run. I was like, what? I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, it's super cool. And like you said, it's like every single thing in here is so well considered. And like almost everything, in fact, I would say probably everything adds the risk reward factor. Even like some of the mounts, like the salamander or the axolotl, I think. That thing is dangerous. I don't like it. I don't ever take the axolotl despite the fact that it's so cute. That all said, my favorite new addition that isn't the hover pack, but like my favorite like gameplay mechanic, and I don't think people ever talk about this ever.
Love the ghost.
Is actually the ghost pod, and so the ghost pod is it's like a vase with like it's gray and it has a ghost face on it, and if you break it, it has a diamond in it.
If anything,
so the idea, not just you, but anything. I think the only thing it's immune to is fire, because the fire in the volcano area would be too much. That thing would constantly be breaking accidentally all the time. And also, like it'll curse you if you get like hit by a lizard while holding the pot. Like the pot breaks on you and you get cursed by it. But that said, you can also curse enemies with it by throwing the pot at it and having it hit them. Like anything that gets hit by the pot gets covered in like ghost ash and they're cursed. And curse is the absolute worst thing in any video game ever. Your health gets reduced to 1 and your max health is also only 1. I think there's 2 items that can heal curse, but it's only like the honey from the giant bee queen, or there's like an elixir that'll heal you. But like good luck. Good luck reaching a point where you're going to get those. And also if you're past the temple, you're never going to find either of those things anyway. So it doesn't matter.
The cats from the temple a couple of times in this conversation. The cats can very easily curse you as well. It sucks. Yeah.
Right. They're like suicide attacking you. And also even when you kill them, they release this gas. So like the only way you can safely kill one is by jumping on them, but also they move erratically, or with a projectile weapon, you can kill them safely. But the reason I bring up the ghost pod is, so there's obviously the risk reward factor of like even just choosing to pick up the pod. Usually it's in a safe spot. So like even just picking it up and bringing it with you, inherently you are activating danger. Like you're inviting disaster upon your entire run theoretically. But you might get a diamond at the end. Especially early on, those diamonds are so valuable. It's 5,000 gold in the first biome. But not only that, you can actually weaponize it. So a thing I never see anyone talk about with this game, at the end of Dwelling, there's this big caveman dude. I think Quill is his name. Like Quillback. He rolls around like Sonic the Hedgehog. He can be tricky to kill unless you have like
Spiky
a shotgun
boots,
or something that early on. Spiky boots is the most reliable. The way I usually kill him is I just try and make sure I have a rock with me going into 1-4, and then I keep safely getting on the ladders and tossing the rock at him.
You can get that straight shot,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. a thing I discovered early on accident, if you toss the ghost pot at him, then he is cursed, and you could just kill him in one hit. You just have to make sure you get through the rest of the level before the ghost catches up to you, but that's not too difficult at that point. So like, it's like they have this risk reward thing that gives you a really big reward if you're successful, but again, might ruin your entire run either through death or through curse if mishandled. But also you can weaponize it. Like it's incredible. I think it's maybe my favorite like individual game design thing I've ever seen in a video game ever. And it's just this super simple little thing, you know, like they went so far out of their way to analyze every single aspect of this game and figure out how can we add some danger to this, but also is optional, but also the danger is worth it. Yeah, I can't think of any game that so successfully pulled that off. How many games have
risk reward mechanics where the risk and the reward are like both worth it? You know, like both worth it, right? On that exponential level that like when I pick up that pot, instantly everything is more dangerous, but the potential that it has is not only money, is not only increased danger because it's going to summon the ghost if the pot breaks, or I could get cursed if the pot breaks in the wrong way, but yeah, also that I can use it against something even like a boss. You know, it's really crazy. Like it's a very small and simple thing, but like it's when you see that on a stage, like you immediately, it's another decision to make. It's like how can this fit into the scope of what I'm doing right now? And you know, Spelunky 2 is always like dangling things in front of you of like, hey, what if I know you had this plan in your head, but what if you went this way with it instead? You know, and that can be the you know that it's the definition. It's risk in the purest form, of just like of always deciding if I want to go this way versus that way and what I would get if I did. Yeah, it's just so smart and so I mean it is like the best, and I say this with no hyperbole. It's like the best video game design I think I've seen. Period. You know, so just so smart and so well done. Yeah,
and again, I've mentioned before, like a lot of hardcore Spelunky people, they really prefer one, and I get that from a certain perspective. There is something with how much more simple Spelunky 1 or HD is, that it has like the doing the daily Sudoku puzzle feel to it. Like Spelunky 1 is more comfortable in that way. And I'm not trying to cast shade. I do totally understand from that perspective why you'd like one more, but like from a video game perspective, it's undeniable to me that Spelunky 2 is like one of the most masterfully crafted like pieces of art in this medium there is. I completely
agree. Yeah, and I mean, and even just like, I mean, we mentioned it before, but like the depth of like what is possible here, even beyond like, yeah, the ultimate challenge of the game is to get to this cosmic ocean, this crazy multi-step thing that's incredibly difficult. But even like little stuff, like my wife's one demand for this episode was that we talked about Vlad's castle. The process of getting there and the things that you can do there, like you have to make sure that you get like the Ujat Eye or whatever indwelling that then you can use as the key to use this drill in Volcana that like drills a hole to like below the bottom of the stage that has the access to Vlad's castle in it. But if earlier in Volcana you rescued like Van Horsing or whatever, who's like in this little caged area, if you rescued him, he'll show up in Vlad's castle because you kind of like go into the back layer in this kind of like red brick castle and you climb up, and when you do, like the music that plays there is so incredible because like you make your way up through like the kind of like dank cave in the back layer, and then you see like the shift to the castle, but when you do, the music turns into this like organ like just blare, just like a like it becomes Castlevania all of a sudden, you know, like oh, it's so good.
Vlad's castle or Vlad's keep, whatever it's called, that is my defining moment of the entire game, because early on in Spelunky 2, like it happened to me very early that I got to Vlad's Keep, but I had no idea what was going on. Like I think I didn't even fully understand that like I used the drill to get down that far, and then there was the entrance to the back end there. I was shaking just with the music, because I'm like, what the hell is happening? Like there is nothing that feels like that in Spelunky 1. And here it's just like this completely hidden, optional, like almost throwaway thing. And yeah, like you said, like rescuing Van Helsing or Van Horsing, whatever his name is, and the fact that he'll kill Vlad for you, which is very useful because like Vlad just teleports away from you when you try and hit him with anything. So like that's the only surefire way you can take.
But also he misses sometimes, which I also love. Like I love that like sometimes he misses. Like it, and you know, like it's like, you know, a slim chance, but I have had him miss, and I think that's so cool because he'll kind of perch himself up at the top of Vlad's castle with a crossbow, and 9 times out of 10 he's gonna just instantly kill him. But every now and then he misses, and like even that feels like a really cool like emergent moment of like, oh god, like like I thought we had this, and now like the plan has gone sideways, you know. Yeah, it rules.
Yeah, that is like the moment from Spelunky 2 to me. Also, Vlad's Cape in this game, that is the meta, because not only do you get a double jump with it, you can also float down with it like the normal cape.
Right.
But it also increases the amount of blood that comes out of enemies when you hurt them or kill them. So like, if you're going for Cosmic Ocean, yeah, you want the cup and you want Vlad's Cape. Like that is the meta.
And it doesn't explode like a jetpack will.
Yes, exactly. And it doesn't explode. I do want to ask real quick, this is like a heated thing in the Spelunky community. Are you a gloves guy or no?
Climbing gloves? I love the climbing gloves.
Me too. I think they're amazing, but so many people are like, the climbing gloves are the worst items in the game. I'll end a run if I accidentally grab them. Like, what are you talking about?
That's
like,
wild to me. Yeah,
you're just a big baby. Just get used to the fact that you're going to cling to walls. It's not that big of a deal.
No, it's so useful, dude. Like I mean, I've had moments in Spelunky 2 where the fact that I had the climbing gloves has been the difference maker of me having to spend a rope or not. You know,
right? Especially in like the ice caves, like the gloves are indispensable, especially if you don't have a cape or a jetpack or whatever. You know, like I get mad if I don't get gloves in a run. Like to me, it's like just as valuable as the spike shoes or paste, which are probably the other 2 most valuable items in the game. Yeah, no, I love the gloves. I've always thought it was weird that there's like a subset of hardcore Spelunky players. Like, I hate the gloves.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. Well, yeah, I use them. I almost like want to have them, especially if you're doing, like I remember when I was trying to get on Switch, you actually have, it's funny because Vlad's Castle is like you have to do that on the pathway to Pilot because the way that you find Van Horsing again in Temple after doing all of that, and he's like cursed, and he gives you a he gives you like a compass that can point out the location of the alien mothership, which is like a hidden off-screen door
it's mean. Getting the mothership in this game is mean as hell. Yeah.
So like you have to do that. Get the compass from him, which will point out the location of this off-screen doorway at the very bottom of ice caves. So what I like to do is make sure I have climbing gloves, just kind of like cling to the wall of the side of ice caves, and then try to like float down with the cape, just spamming R1 basically. Like, please get me through the door so I can get into Mothership.
And I will say that about Spelunky 2, with how extremely hard Temple is, and with how like Mothership is, there's a whole lot of the game that I never even like regularly see, as opposed to Spelunky 1. I mean, Spelunky 1, like, yeah, I'm never going to the worm or the castle generally, unless I'm trying to goof around. But I would like more excuses to go the Temple route, because I think like the City of Gold route in Spelunky 2 is way more interesting from a gameplay perspective. It's just like, why would I risk this ever unless I have to, kind of thing. Because I really need to emphasize, as much as I love Spelunky 2, I do think the worst part about the game is like this imbalance of how difficult the Temple is. I think it's ridiculous. I'm shocked that like he rebalanced the moles, but as far as I'm aware, never rebalanced stuff in Temple, or if he did, he didn't do it enough because it's garbage down there.
Yeah, no, I never go down there unless I have to. It would be neat. I mean, because conversely, right, I go to Vlad's castle every time because the Vlad's cape is so good. And you know, that's one of those just kind of like universally good items in the game. So I'm always going to go there because I want that for my build, you know, basically always. So it'd be cool if there was something in the temple that was like that, where it was like, yeah, like it's worth risking going down there because what you have is, you know, like something down there is so good, it can really be the difference maker of your run.
Right.
Yeah, but it's as it stands, it's just way too dangerous.
And also, when you get a temple level in the Cosmic Ocean, I'm like, okay, there's 50% chance this is the last level I'm playing today in Cosmic Ocean, because there's a very good chance I'm going to get cursed or crushed, or the Gator Men will destroy you.
Oh, they're so annoying. Yeah.
They're so bad. Like, in 1, you can deal with them, but in 2, it's rough. We are running like a little long. Was there anything else you wanted to specifically shout out about 2?
No, I mean, I think that this is one of those things we have gone longer than I actually thought we would, and we could go longer than this. So we probably should at a certain point just put our pencils down and just say that these games are immaculate. And if anybody has been listening to this having not played Spelunky 1 or 2, the cool thing is I really do think, I don't think that Spelunky 2 invalidates Spelunky 1. I genuinely think that they're both still worth playing. And the fact that you can get them, like I think Spelunky 1 is $10 full price, and Spelunky 2 is what, 15 or 20 or something? Like, it's crazy. Like how much value and content, even just like the Switch versions of the game, like Spelunky 2, Switch is not where I first played that game. But even like Spelunky 2 on Switch, I have like 65 hours in or something like that. You know?
Right. Yeah, like I put hundreds of hours into Spelunky 2 on both PS4 and PC for whatever reason. I don't know why. I bought it on PC and PS4 day one just because it's Spelunky 2, I guess. And yeah, I still have put dozens and dozens of hours into it on Switch. And like I said earlier, I understand it's not going to hit for everyone, but I think it could. It just requires you to actually sit down with it and accept it for what it is, and not try and be upset that it's something that it's not. You know what I mean? Like, it's not Mario, it's not Celeste, but it's not trying to be. It's its own thing. And I think, the fact that like your wife and my wife both like love Spelunky 2. I did forget to mention, or I guess I mentioned it briefly, but yeah, my wife and I played a ton of co-op Spelunky 2 when it hit Switch, specifically because we could play online together without two systems, but we each had our own screen, so we weren't dealing with like the flag thing going on. I never liked having to share the screen. That's why we didn't do much local co-op, but yeah, being able to like each person has their own camera following them in the online in 2 was such a game changer to me. And yeah, my wife and I, we have a lot of clips from when Spelunky 2 came out on Switch in 2021 of us just goofing. One time we set it up so a thwomp crushed Anubis for us. Like that was one of our proudest moments. It's funny, that happens on accident all the time in 1 and 2, but the fact that we set it up, like we brought a thwomp with us and just to kill Anubis because we didn't have paste or spike shoes. Like, yeah, that was pretty cool. That's one of my favorite things. And yeah, we accidentally did an eggplant run casually. It was like her third time playing. I'm like, oh, an eggplant. Let's try and do this. And then we just did. I love Spelunky 2. We have shouted out the pilot. Yeah. Who, yes, is hands down my favorite Spelunky character, period. And we also shouted out the rugged guy Spelunky with like the tired eyes and the beard. I do want to also shout out, what's his name? Rafi D. Sloth, like one of the default characters in 2. He's a greaser sloth, like he's got a pompadour and a leather jacket, but he's a sloth. I just like that. That was my character, my go-to character in 2 until I got Pilot. Pilot's now my go-to. My wife hates Pilot, by the way. What? I know she's not a fan of Pilot. And maybe it's because I use him so much, but like anytime I use his rope, another cool thing is like, God, we could really talk about this game for so long. Every character in Spelunky 2 has their own like unique kind of like
kit, like aesthetically, and his rope is like a long like rubber hand sort of thing, and it like sounds all squishy and rubbery. She hates that. I love it. I love that he's just like a gross little dude. Yeah.
I don't even think he's gross. I just think he's like a weird alien.
Yeah, he's like a weird.
Fine.
He's like just a weird pale little guy, and like he's a lot of characters will, whenever they get on the mount, their eyes will kind of light up and get all weird. He just has like the same flat expression the entire time.
Yeah.
Which I also love. Yeah. So yeah, shout outs to the pilot.
Yeah, no, I love Pilot. I think he's incredible. Like that made me interested. Finding out that he's a character in UFO 50 years ago, I'm like, oh, dude, that's going to be cool.
Yeah, he's like the character in UFO 50. In fact, Fangamer has a Pilot plush that.
What?
Yeah,
I didn't. Yeah, I wasn't aware of this.
I need to go. In fact, I might buy this. I mean, it comes out in April. I need to just go ahead and pre-order mine because I do need to have my Pilot plush.
Yep, I just Googled, and that's great. I mean, yeah, it's fun because he looks more like he does in UFO 50 than he does in Spelunky. But yeah, I like that. I like that. Yeah, he's just kind of like a weird little chubby guy with like dead eyes.
Just a weird little dude, big, like basically Google eyes and like a big like bulbous nose and very simple design too. Like just kind of like pinkish, reddish, like. Little belt on that has a P on it. P for Pilot. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pilot rules, and yeah, he is definitely the hardest character to unlock in the game too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's go on our break, and we will come back with some YouTube comments. This break, you shall be hearing Black Market, Wet Fur 2, and City of Gold. I should clarify, it's the Black Market from Spelunky 1. Then we're taking you over to Wet Fur 2 in Spelunky 2, and then back to the City of Gold in Spelunky 1, and we will be back. And you just heard Black Market from Spelunky 1, Wet Fur 2 from Spelunky 2, and City of Gold from Spelunky 1. Because of the length of time this episode has already been, I'm going to run down my very brief thoughts before handing it off to Seth for his brief thoughts on all three of these. Originally, like, Black Market is so good. I was going to use it for background music at first because, like, all of the shop related songs feel like they just work so well for background music, and specifically for like the YouTube comment section. Like, the YouTube comment section is like, that's like the seedy underbelly of this show,
the nasty section.
Yeah, that was what I was going for, just the seedy and gross dastardly section. But like, it just, I felt it deserved a spotlight here because like it is so imperative to like any Spelunky 1 run. Like even a casual player, you're often going to be going to Black Market even if you're not going to rob it. It's also just funny because like when you activate the shopkeepers, they start trying to kill you. You don't hear this song anymore. It turns into the shopkeepers are mad song. So often what this song signifies to me is like, okay, I finally killed the last shopkeeper, and the song starts playing again. It
comes back on. Yeah, right.
Yeah. And at that point, then it has like a different tone. It's like, I'm the seedy guy because I just murdered everyone.
It's got a real like Taxi Driver energy to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that sums it up pretty well. For Wet Fur 2, I just love that the Yeti song in 1 is saxophone heavy, and then for some reason Wet Fur 2 is a reggae song.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make sense, but it kind of does. I don't know. Like, I also like that it doesn't really sound like Icy either.
Not at
like
all.
It's just a reggae song that plays when you go in the Yeti caves in this game for some reason, but it fits. I don't know. I can just imagine the Yetis hanging out. Like, this is like diegetic. They're actually listening to this when you go in here, kind of thing. City of Gold, I really don't have like anything here. It's just, I really like how imposing this song sounds. Like, it really feels like not only have you stumbled into something, but like you stumbled into something bad and you shouldn't be here, kind of thing. And I think that really sums up how I feel about, again, we talked about it earlier, but like the sequence of events and progression in Spelunky 1. Like, this feels like, you know, it feels like a culmination, but not really. It's like the culmination of the first step, but then you pick up the Necronomicon and then Anubis 2. Yeah, there's a second Anubis.
They made another one. Yeah.
They made an Anubis that has like a red turban, or not turban, but loincloth this time.
Yeah.
It feels like something real bad is about to happen. And indeed it is. If you figured it out, this is how you have to get to hell, is with the Necronomicon. I mean, yeah, the fact that you're picking up the Necronomicon and it's literally like a fleshy Facebook that
like moves,
wiggles around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it straight up is like the Evil Dead Necronomicon. Like, that's so cool. And I just feel like this song did a real good job of like exemplifying that.
Yeah, our notes are pretty similar. My first note for Black Market is that bass is dirty. And it just really gives the Black Market like an underground place you're not supposed to be kind of vibe, is my note here. For Wet Fur 2, yeah, my first note is a little reggae groove never hurt nobody. Which is totally, yeah, like it doesn't quite stack up to the Yeti Cave, song from the first game, but again, it's a very different vibe. I like that kind of like bass line underneath it. I also love, in the last 30 seconds or so, the lead kind of gets like real noodly, like kind of going off script a little bit, which I really like. My note for City of Gold is my first note, and I know what I mean by this. My first note is just dangerous opulence. Like,
okay.
Yeah, it feels like you're not supposed to be here. You've kind of dug too deep, but there's also these little like twinkly bits that kind of peer through it, kind of reminding you that you're just in this like, yeah, this place of extreme like riches, but also like, what does that mean? Like, we've stumbled into this place where like you can, you can stand to gain a lot, but you can stand to lose a lot too. Yeah, really, really good stuff.
Yeah, There's something real special about the City of Gold. I don't remember if I said this, but like, yeah, the first time getting to the City of Gold, that was another like defining moment of Spelunky 1 for me. Yeah. And in that case, it largely was the music that really did it for me. With that all said, are we ready then to get into the YouTube comment oversharing corner?
Let's do it.
As always, this is the section of the show where we read off any funny, memorable, interesting, or downright insane comments we stumbled across while grabbing songs for this episode. I think these are all mine, yes?
Yeah, I think so.
We'll trade off, and you don't have to go in order. You can pick whatever one you want. I'm just going to start with this first one. This was YouTube user at WheezyPanda7915 commented on Dwelling 4 years ago. The theme of breaking 2 pots and screaming because there's a snake that spit on you and a scorpion that hit you, and they both poisoned you. And then YouTube user Gumfondle, which is a great name.
God.
Responded 4 years ago. Remember, kids, throw the pot for gain, whip the pot for pain, which is a great comment because, yes, in Spelunky, like, you do want to break the pots because there's oftentimes money in them. But yeah, it's either there's money, nothing, or an enemy.
Right.
And so oftentimes, if you whip the pot, you get startled by an enemy. Not only that, yeah, it could be a scorpion or the anaconda, which are both poisonous, and poison is a big bad thing in this. You need to rescue a damsel, and they'll lick the poison off you. But then when you leave to the next level, the animal is poisoned. Like, you just left them with the poison. So yeah, that I thought that comment was cute, mostly just for the throw the pot for gain, whip the pot for pain.
I also like how when they say they both poisoned you, it's like the letters are separated for emphasis.
Yeah.
It's
very good. I just didn't know how to say that out loud without saying. Yeah, it's very good that each letter has a space between it. Yeah.
Okay. YouTube user. I truly don't know how to pronounce this. It looks like the cat just walked on their keyboard.
Let me take a crack at it. It's Uvev110
Sure, there you go. They commented on Molten Factory 2 months ago. The shield robot is in its last moments of life, seeking out the nearest shop, altar, or ghost pod after I jumped on it.
Yeah. Yes. So one of the enemies in the factory levels is a robot that when you jump on it, it just starts like a countdown sequence till it explodes. And yes, it turns out oftentimes when you activate one of those robots, it's not worth it. It's really not worth killing them almost ever because they will wander into a shop and blow it up, and then the shopkeeper will get mad at you. Or yes, an altar or like a very inconvenient pool of lava they will put in your path. Yeah, I really like that comment a lot too.
Yeah, I just cannot sanction that username. What the hell is that? I
like the idea of that them trying to, like, they've actually got that memorized. Like, that's actually also like their gamer tag and stuff. Like, oh yeah, hit me up at Uvev when that.
They're like, I don't. It's pronounced exactly how it's spelled. I don't understand.
Yeah, what's the problem here? YouTube user at the ultimate swagon. Actually, I guess is what that is. Oftentimes, I don't even look at these names until we're coming to read them, and then I realize, like, oh, the ultimate swagon.
Or it could be the ultimate S-wagon. Could be that.
I thought that too, but I think I like swaggin more.
Yeah, sure.
So I just went with that.
It's like a swaggy dragon, a swaggin, maybe.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. Yeah, the ultimate swaggin commented on Minds B 1 year ago. Played this game with a buddy, and every time this track played, we'd go like, "It's spelunkin' time," or "Oh, I'm spelunkin'." Just goofy good times.
I love that. My wife and I do something similar where we say that we're splunking around. That's our phrase. Yeah.
It's funny because, like, I think that's cute, but it's just also funny that, like, the ultimate swagon, like, really wanted to comment that. You know, like, I think that's a cute thing to have with your buddy or, yeah, with your wife. Like, yeah, we have this dumb, goofy catchphrase for when we're playing Spelunky together, but this dude's like, people are going to get a real kick out of me just saying, "Oh, I'm spelunking." Just a goofy good time.
I like Goofy Good Times is cute too. It is good. It is Goofy Good Times. Okay, well, with a much more easily readable and pronounceable username, YouTube user at NinjaCat0012 commented on Temple C 3 years ago. Once I got stuck in the temple with no rope and no bombs. The only way out was a
three high wall, I think is what they're trying to say.
Yeah, I guess. That if I got around, I could get to the end. I managed to lure a crushing trap down into the area I was stuck in and used him to hop out and escape. I felt so proud of my epic move, and then I walked into a pool of lava.
I love that there's no punctuation there. I felt so proud of my epic move, and then I walked into a pool of lava.
And that's also a classic Spelunky experience, right? Like, everybody has a moment like that.
Yeah, that was so emblematic of Spelunky as a whole. I had to put it in here. Like, yeah, I love that they detailed the problem and how they solved it, that they were out of materials, they're out of equipment, so they lowered this thing down and they escaped, and then they just did something stupid immediately after. Like, yep.
That's Spelunky.
It's Spelunkin time. Yep. Oh, I'm Spelunkin.
Oh, I'm Spelunkin. That's right.
YouTube user at 4stones1860 commented on Still Waters 1 year ago. Wow, what a nice and calming theme. I sure hope the level it plays in isn't absolute hell. Which, again, we talked about it. Still Waters is not, or the tide pool is not that bad, especially compared to Temple. But yes, like anything in Spelunky, there are plenty of death opportunities for you. The first few times, like the first few runs I actually made it to tide pool, yeah, I got by the bear traps, but eventually you come to look for those. You know, that
you learn it.
That's the thing with Spelunky. You just need to learn what to look for and what to watch out for. And hey, if there's a floating piece of gold on top of some coral, don't touch it or whip it first. Then you'll deactivate the bear trap. That's all you need to know. You
just got to learn these things, and then it won't be absolute hell anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Tide pool is pretty nice. It's fine down there.
Yeah, to me, it's like a little bit of a like I can breathe a little bit for a second when I'm in there. Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm glad we've saved this one for last. This is my favorite comment, I think, of the episode.
Me too.
YouTube user at the Trenches YT commented on Black Market 1 year ago. I'm gonna try to say this without laughing. Hippity hoppity, there's an orange frog in the shoppity. Which is so in Spelunky 1, there is a major, there's these frog enemies, and there's an orange variant where if you step on them, they explode. And this has happened to me several times, where hippity hoppity, an orange frog will get into the shoppity, and it becomes a dangerous thing because you don't want that to set off a massive sequence of events before you're ready for it, you know? And yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. It's so funny. I think all of these are pretty fun. These are all pretty goofy comments. I was glad that we didn't have any dead grandma things going on here. But it's oftentimes just the simplest things that makes me laugh the hardest. And yeah, hippity hoppity, there's an orange frog in the shoppity is fantastic stuff. That one's probably going into the Hall of Fame. So thank you, the Trenches YT, for your hard work on that one. But with that said, that was the YouTube comment oversharing corner for this Spelunky episode of Bit Harmony. Next up, we've got the voicemails. Just one this week, but before we do that, as a reminder, you can send in voicemails by either emailing us at bitharmonypod@gmail.com, or you can call those in at 216-230-8540. That number again, we'll read it off right 2 more times this episode anyway, but that number again is 216-230-8540. You can also text us. We do have a bot harmony as well. In fact, we should probably play the bot harmony first before the voicemail.
Sure. Let's go ahead and hear what bot harmony has to say this episode.
Since we're so far into the year, what game's soundtrack are you most looking forward to this year?
Since we're so far into the year. It's my favorite voice I think we've done for bot harmony yet.
Yeah, I just choose a random voice off of this website to read it off, and yeah, that was definitely my favorite text to go along with this specific voice. Yeah.
Since we're so far into the year, so soundtracks that we're looking forward to, huh? That's the gist of it.
Yeah, and you know, this is both an easy and a hard one to answer. I have a feeling both you and I have the same number one, which would be Angeline era in this case.
Yeah.
So that's the next game from Analgesic Productions, the developers of Anodyne 2 and Symphony and Even the Ocean, and composed by Melos Hantani. Like, yeah, that's one of my most anticipated games, period, the rest of the year. But yeah, soundtrack wise, it has to be number one, at least right now. Because the problem is we don't know much of what Nintendo is getting up to this year. And even the things we do know, like Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon Legends ZA, like we don't really have much to go off of yet. Like if you ask me what I'm like thinking is going to be the best soundtrack this year, for me, it's probably Angeline era. What am I most excited to hear, especially because Angeline era we've heard so much of already from the pretty extensive demo. Like I'm most curious to hear Legends ZA soundtrack to know, like, is it going to capture some of those same vibes as Arceus, but it probably won't go for the same vibes because presumably it's set in Kalos, which is inspired by France and not Japan, right? So like there's questions like that, like, you know, Metroid Prime 4, like I love the Metroid Prime 1 through 3 soundtracks. Like we could do episodes on all three of those if we felt like it. So like I really want to hear the Metroid Prime 4 soundtrack, but like we haven't seen enough about the game yet to get me excited to hear it, if that makes sense. Like I'm really anticipating it, but I'm not like frothing at the mouth for it yet because we just haven't heard that much. And then hey, there's a Switch 2. Have you heard coming out this year? Like, yeah, I want to hear a new 3D Mario soundtrack and a new Mario Kart soundtrack, but yeah, we don't know the specifics yet. So out of like the things we definitively like know about, yeah, it's definitely Angeline era for me. But yeah, there's so much up in the air that it's hard to answer otherwise with all this other stuff.
Yeah, sure. I have a top 5 for you.
Okay, go for it.
So my number 5, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, which is a game that I'm a little lukewarm. I think it looks cool, but the music that we've heard from it already, I think is really good, and I'm excited to hear the whole scope of that soundtrack, even if I don't know if I'm going to play the game or not. I want to listen to the music. So we'll see how that turns out. My number 4 is Pokemon Legends Z through Alpha. Yeah, I want to see more of that game in general, but if it stacks up to the Arceus soundtrack at all, then yes, sign me up. My number 3 would be Professor Layton and the New World of Steam, which hopefully that comes out this year. Who the hell knows with Level 5 and their track record, but if that game comes out this year, it will surely have a phenomenal soundtrack. Number 2, yeah, Metroid Prime 4. I mean, if anything in there is like to the level of like Fendara Drifts, you know what I mean? Like that's when Prime 4 comes out, it's like, man, like I almost can't fathom, like, is anything in there going to be as instantly like iconic and as good as the stuff that is in like Prime 1 even? Like, so I'm very interested in that. And then yeah, number 1 is Angeline era. That's a pretty easy number 1 for me.
I don't know. I was surprised that Clair Obscur was on your list. I'll have to like listen to the trailer music and stuff again. Like,
it's really good.
I don't remember like anything about the music that we've heard. I mean, yeah, something about that game is not appealing to me in the way it is for like a lot of people that I know. Like I know Colin is very excited about it, but like, it does look like, that's not me saying it looks bad. It just isn't appealing to me specifically. But if they put a bad or a badass soundtrack in that thing, then I'm all in. Like
I have like mixed emotions about it, because yeah, I really like the music that we've heard from it so far. For me, it's really like the visual style of it that I'm not clicking with, the characters and stuff that I'm not clicking with. But even that kind of like, it kind of reminds me of Lost Odyssey or something in a weird way. Like, I don't know. Like I have my eyes on it. If it gets like really good reviews, or if Colin plays it and says it's really good, I'll probably jump in, because it's also supposed to be like a pretty like manageable length. I think they're saying it's between like 30 and 60 hours. It's not like some massive like 150 hour RPG. It's also not going to come out at full price, which I think is cool. So yeah, I don't know. I am into the idea of it in theory, and I really want to hear the music. So
The real answer will also be when they just re-release Kirby Planet Robobot and they add like a new mode or whatever. That's I guess my actual answer, but we don't.
true, yeah.
But that's a lot of hypotheticals and ifs going on. So, but yes, thank you for the thought-provoking question, Bot Harmony. Let's move on then to the lone voicemail this episode.
All right, let's hear it.
Hello, Bit Harmony. I hope you all are having a swingalicious day. I actually do have you guys saved to my contacts, not as Bit Harmony, but as Bit Harmony voicemail hotline. So, congratulations. And don't worry, I'm not driving this time, so we're good. Speaking of driving, your random song of the episode for today is Bowser Jr. and Koopalings Invade from Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. I was surprised by this one. Hope you enjoy. Peace.
Thank you, Presto, for calling in, and thank you for not driving. Thank you for not putting me in like a weird morality position of trying to tell someone to not drive while leaving. Again, if it's hands-free, I don't think it's that big of an issue as long as you're not dialing us while doing it. But yeah, thank you for the voicemail. Before we listen to some music real quick, what is your experience with Mario Kart Live Home Circuit? Because I have none.
Yeah, almost none. I always kind of wanted to get it, but I know that my cat would destroy it if I did. So I never got around to getting it. But I've always wanted to play, 'cause it does actually have some cool ideas. And this is, I think, the first time I've ever listened to any of the music. So, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I should have figured, like, it's Nintendo, so like there is original music in this damn thing, which is kind of crazy to think about, but again, also kind of makes sense. So yeah, Presto requested Bowser Jr. and Koopalings Invade. I went ahead and paired it, because I like playing two songs together. I paired it with Results, 2nd place to 5th place as well. So again, we got Bowser Jr. and Koopalings Invade, and Results, 2nd place to 5th place, from Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, composed by Ryo Nagamatsu, and we'll be back for the end of episode stuff. And for the last time this episode, you just heard Bowser Jr. and Koopalings Invade, and Results, 2nd place to 5th place from Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. I'll be honest, both these kind of blew me away.
Yeah, they're pretty sick. Yeah.
Especially like for me, like that results song is very much
yeah.
like my kind of thing. The
Sure.
fact that it's not even for first place is wild. That's for second to fifth.
Right. How is this not the first place reward getting this music?
I listened to the first place one and it was fine, but yeah, it didn't hit me like second place to fifth place.
Yeah.
When I loaded up the soundtrack for this, most of the music is just reused from Mario Kart 8, but yeah, there are some exceptions like this stuff in here. When it comes to Bowser Jr. and the Koopalings Invade, I was not expecting like a rearrangement of the Boom Boom Battle theme from Mario 3, but I guess it does make sense because in one of the new Super Mario games, they rearranged that for Bowser Jr. there too when you fight him, or maybe Galaxy or something.
I think they've done both. I think both of them have been rearranged for, I think, New Super Mario Brothers. Maybe it was DS and yeah, Mario Galaxy for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I don't know that like Bowser, that's become Bowser Jr.'s theme now. You know, I like Boom Boom a lot, but also like they don't do much with him. Well, I say that, but they brought him back for 3D World and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It's cool that like Bowser Jr. became the Boom Boom theme guy. And yeah, it was just a really cool version of this song. And also, yeah, something that we didn't hear in Mario Kart 8 proper, you know? So yeah, that was pretty cool. And then just real quick, since I'm already talking, I don't have like any other notes, but with results second to fifth place, again, I mentioned how this is like very much my speed for a video game song, but also specifically around 20 seconds in, it sounds like an instructional video for like a new vacuum cleaner or something. Like, I don't know. It's very, very good. I quite like both these songs. I never, much like, Phelan sending in Pokemon Coliseum stuff last episode, I never would have listened to this because I didn't know that there was anything like this in there, you know?
Right. Well, this would be the kind of thing that would be neat to see hit the Nintendo Music app. You know,
yeah,
like that's the
more obscure, weird stuff. Yeah,
yeah. That like a lot of people might have missed. You know, I would have liked to see something like that. But yeah, I don't have a lot to add here. I mean, I do think it's neat that like the sort of Bowser and Bowser Jr. and just kind of like Bowser adjacent music has kind of taken this turn in recent years towards like the hard rock, like metal influences, which I think makes a lot of sense, like to the point where like in Bowser's Fury you have like straight up like screamo metal, which is cool,
right?
But yeah, like go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say in Mario Wonder, like he wants to put on like a concert and stuff. Like I wasn't even thinking about all that, and yeah, I guess with Jack Black voicing him in the movie too, they really have given him like a musical flair.
Right. There's just this kind of like kind of metal rock music kind of edge to Bowser and Bowser related things now, which I think is cool and makes perfect sense. And yeah, like it is neat to kind of still have those like kind of brassy influences from like the Mario Galaxy arrangement of this theme in here too. I'm a big like Koopalings defender. I like the Koopalings. I wish they'd be in more things. So I don't know. I like them and I think it's cool. Yeah, but for me, I'm with you. The results second to fifth place, I was like, damn, this is some good stuff, man. Like this has a little bit of like Wii era energy to it. For sure. I love the kind of like it's got like a real like slappy like bass line to it. You know, like I can almost hear like the fingers hitting the strings, and I love that quiet little marimba that comes in and like the electric guitar kind of harmonizes with it. Yeah, it's really, really good stuff that again is kind of like Wii era nostalgic in a way. That I really dig, and yeah, if they add this to Nintendo Music, I would for sure boot that up and add it to a playlist.
Yeah, it's really cool, really, really unexpected, and yeah, like this is my favorite part of Bit Harmony in general is just like getting to hear all this stuff, whether it's games we're covering that I've never really played before, or yeah, listeners calling in and requesting this stuff. Like this is why I like doing the show so much. Specifically, it's to hear stuff like this that I absolutely never would have heard before. So again, thank you, Presto. Thank you, anyone that has ever called in or will call in. If you want to call in, you can do that by dialing 216-230-8540. The number one more time is 216-230-8540. You can also text us to that same number. or you can email a voicemail to bitharmonypod@gmail.com. And as a reminder, keep those to less than 3 minutes if you're dialing into the voicemail, because it will just end for you apparently. But otherwise, that has been basically the show. We do have our Patreon shoutouts that I'll let Seth handle, and we've got our announcement of the next episode, as well as the return of the haikus.
Yes, the long-awaited return of haikus. Absolutely. Well, okay. Yeah, first of all of these things that we've been talking about, links to the email, the voicemail number, that's all in the show notes. In the show notes, you'll also find links to the All-In Discord. You can join the community, talk with other Bit Harmony enjoyers, roast me for my Mario Kart 8 tier list alongside everybody else. We welcome you, friendly, free, welcoming place. And yeah, links to Patreon as well, which is a great place to support the show. You can, again, get early access to the show for as little as $1 a month, and we really appreciate it. And you can join the ranks of the fine folks who support us over there. At the Golden Banana tier and Triforce tier, you get shout-outs at the end of the show, which we're going to do right now. Thank you so much to our Triforce tier supporters like Bowza, Dan and Luma, Danielina Hosa, Foolish Fuji, John Cummins, Josh Vaughn, Ligerwoods330, and of course, Uncle Randy. And thank you so much to our Golden Banana tier supporters, Big Dogs Only, Bill Tucker, SAZ, Gamer Jason, Liam D, Marcus O'Neill, Phelan Ward, Rob Yapel, Shy Guy, thank you Shy Guy, Sean Ashton, and Sparky. You can get a 7-day free trial also to the Golden Banana tier if you want to check out some of the exclusive content, enjoy the early access for free for 7 days. You can do that too, and we appreciate you for doing it. Bit Harmony, of course, is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, just to reemphasize, yeah, if you haven't reviewed us yet, like, you know, I understand not everyone has the money to give to Patreon every month. I totally get it. But really, like, you should review us if you haven't reviewed us.
That's free.
I've seen the numbers. I know not all of you have reviewed us. Well, I don't know what you're doing. But yeah, thank you for anyone that listens, that contributes to the Patreon, that has reviewed or will contribute to the Patreon. Our next episode should be going up on February 23rd. That's going to be on Hypnospace Outlaw.
Hell yeah. I
have no idea what that episode's going to be like, because the music in that game, we'll talk about it when we get there, obviously, but that whole game is just so non-linear, and I don't know how that episode's going to be structured, which is part of the reason why I've put it off for as long as we have. But we're committed now, so hopefully I will find time to replay
me. I would like to replay it too. That's what excites me about doing that episode, is that I truly don't know where that's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I think it will be the most varied music that we've ever brought to an episode of the show.
I guess, yeah, it kind of inherently has to be, right? Yeah. Or we could just bring nothing but Chowder Man songs to the episode.
It could just be the Chowder Man episode, and I would be cool with that too. Yeah.
Maybe that'll be the first Bit Harmony, is the just Chowder Man songs.
Just Chowder Man tribute, yeah.
But yeah, look forward to that. Again, as you can tell, Seth and I are also looking forward to that. Even if that episode ends up sucking, it's still a great video game. So Hypnospace Outlaw, if you haven't played it,
it's one of our favorites.
Yeah. We're kind of I didn't realize that we're doing Spelunky followed by Hypnospace Outlaw. That's like the most Matt and Seth possible set of games.
Yeah, very indulgent. Very indulgent of us to do this, but hey, whatever, it's our show. Get used to it.
Yeah, that's true. Are we ready then for the haikus?
Let's do it. Yeah.
So this is the part where I admit that because it's been so long since we've done a haiku, I didn't remember to do a haiku until we were like an hour into recording this. So at some point, I don't remember when, it was around like the Nintendo music section, I stealthily wrote a haiku.
Hell yeah.
So it's not even as good as usual, which is to say it's even worse than usual, but
it might be brilliant though.
Maybe.
You never know.
I doubt it, but
I love this.
So this is my impromptu or pretty impromptu Spelunky haiku. Wherever I am, hope that there's a hover pack, unless there's fire.
I wherever I am, opening it, that was very evocative to me for some reason. Wherever I am. That
actually, yeah, that part was the only part, like, I came to that immediately when I was like, oh, I didn't do a haiku. I got to think of something real quick. I was like, I don't know. I thought of like getting lost in caves, like exploring in the biomes of Spelunky, and then that was what came to mind, was wherever I am. So I do think there is something for being put under pressure, like can sometimes bring about good results. It just only really that first line I think is a great result. Because I agree with you. I'll toot my own horn. I think wherever I am is a fantastic opening line.
Yeah, I think about. Yeah, I was going with that at first in writing my haiku, just sort of like the nature of exploration and getting lost in infinite loops. I was going that direction when I first sat down to write my haiku, but what I ended up doing was something completely different for my haiku, and I ended up making an ode to my favorite character in Spelunky. This is an ode to Waddler. Sticky, stalwart friend, carries without condition. He does it for you.
Yeah, I like that. I would starting off much like, you know, my thing started off strong. Yours also started off very, very really painting a picture with sticky. Whenever sticky
was the best word I could come up with to describe. I thought about like leaning into like green or emerald or something, but no, sticky, stalwart friend. I was also proud of the line carries without condition. I thought was pretty good. Just he's happy to help. And he doesn't ask for anything in return. He just wants to help. He does it for you.
Yeah. He just put whatever items he got down on his little weird, like, fancy pads, and he'll take them with him.
He stands to gain nothing. He just, he likes to help. And I love him very much.
Is there any lore for Waddler? I guess it's too late to look into it now, but there must be some lore for Waddler, because there is,
his journal entry is like nothing though. Like his journal entry doesn't really say anything about him. Yeah.
Well, maybe we're saving that for Spelunky 3. We'll find out Waddler was also cloned in some lab or something. Anyway, that has been it from us at Bit Harmony. We'll be back in a couple weeks for Hypnospace Outlaw. Taking you out this episode is Space Adventure, the end credits theme from Spelunky 2. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.